Hey, what's going on, everybody? Todd here, joined by DorkyRae.
Hi.
And Thrabalen of Thrabalen Gaming.
Hello, everyone.
Let me kill music, because that's the thing needs to be done. So, on this, I guess, very special episode... It's not a really very special episode, because then we'd be talking about, like, actual issues, like they did in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, but...
Well, tonight's a very special episode of Blossom.
Yeah. Was that the one where the kid with the gun or whatever?
I'm not sure.
No. She rats out the kid with the gun, and then the kid ends up ending his life or something like that. After he made threats to her and shit. It's weird. Legit episode of Blossom.
I don't even know what Blossom is, but...
Mayim Bialik show.
Before Big Bang Theory.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Hold on. There we go. Awesome. I was wondering why things were running like shit, and I'm like, oh, that's right, because I never got rid of the other thing. Welp, that fucking happened. Doing it live. Well.
Oh, are we?
I love when I say we're doing it live, and you instantly assume we're actually broadcasting.
Well, I mean, considering the last thing that you ran was Nashville by Night,
which is live.
Yeah, which is live. And
it's possible that you just hit a button and you're like, oh, well, I just did the thing that I usually do for Nashville. Welp.
I mean, let's face it, there's really no difference between doing it live and doing it like this because there's no real editing process involved. So
I mean, that's true, but
except for Nashville by Night, which I still haven't gone through and cut out the break and made sure everything's good.
Well, like I said, there's no difference between doing it like this and doing it live.
Yeah.
I mean, the difference would be is if we had an episode where we did do it live, but we let audience members.
Oh no, we're not.
That's a terrible idea.
I know. I'm not saying that we should. I'm just saying that would be.
Right.
Difference. What?
Right. No.
No.
Okay, I agree.
Before we continue, though, let's get business out of the way. And by that, I'm talking about our sponsors, Sideshow Collectibles. They have some really cool statues and prints, specifically of multiple different fandoms. But, I mean, they do kind of cater a little bit to Marvel. A little bit. So there.
What does that have to do with anything, Todd?
More on that later. But no, seriously, Sideshow Collectibles is amazing. You guys should check them out if you're looking for stuff to adorn a shelf that isn't filled with pop figures. You can check them out. Pick up some really good high-end statues, figures, or if you want to put up some prints, you can do that as well. Sideshow Collectibles, link in the description or the show notes. You vape, I vape. I mean, I'm not saying you vape. I'm asking, do you vape? I vape. If you do, and you're looking for some good prices on some great product, you can check out Breezy. You can check out Valiant Vape. Two great companies that have sponsored us, and you should check them out. Their links are in the show notes. Are you a fan of goth clothing, burlesque clothing, steampunk clothing? Well, the Violet Vixen may be the place for you, and you can shop for them on their website, link in the description, really great prices for what they offer. I mean, if you're looking for spiral-bound steel bone corsets, I mean, you can't beat their fucking prices. There's Loot Crate. You like mystery boxes? Mystery boxes are cool. Loot Crate. Link.
This is Loot Crate.
That loot where?
Well, yeah.
Same difference. Same difference.
Yeah. Same website.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I know there's one I'm forgetting because I know I'm not really forgetting them. That's not. I know, and I'm saving that one. But is there any other ones that we have? Oh, Fanatical.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I play a lot of PC games. Ballin plays a lot of
write
PC
these
games.
down.
Oh.
They're in the show notes. So there is a list. I just never have it pulled up when I'm actually
Right.
doing this. But
Because Todd's a professional, and professional does it from memory.
yeah, I try, right?
Fair point.
I mean, it was easier when I was doing fucking 4 shows a week. So
Yeah. Repetition.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Toddy podcast up in this bitch. Yeah. But no, seriously.
Podcast.
Huh?
I'm not the only one who's thinking it. Thank you.
Toddcast.
God damn it. But no, so Fanatical, you're looking for good prices on PC games, on you want some cool mystery bundles, check out Fanatical. Their link our link for them is in the description or in the show notes. I know they were running a game I'm looking forward to quite a bit. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, which announced a new clan, by the way. The second clan, I mean, they've announced that you play as a Thin Blood, and then there's the Bruja have been announced, and now the Tremere have been announced. We have 3 more clans being announced for the base game, which is going to be cool, but whatever. They were running the Blood Moon edition for 10% off. It's cheaper than if you bought it from Paradox. It is cheaper than if you bought it on Steam. It is cheaper than if you bought it on the Epic Store. It is cheaper than if you bought it on Humble. Check out Fanatical. They are terrific. And last, but certainly not least, Gary Poppins Small Batch Gourmet Popcorn.
It's Gary Poppins, y'all.
It's Gary Poppins, y'all. Now, 2 weeks ago, it's been 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I really wish I had some delicious Gary Poppins with me. But the movie theater I went to does not serve it. I was upset. Super
My movie
upset.
theater doesn't have it either.
We need to go and say, hey, Mr. Movie Theater Man, get some Gary Poppins in here and use our affiliate link.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I will talk up your theater. I don't even care if I've never been there.
Yeah. No, but seriously,
But no,
like
Marcus Theater, if you want to hit me up, just saying. I go to Marcus Theater all the time.
to be 100% serious though, like I would have loved to have some Gary Poppins popcorn while I saw a phenomenal film. A phenomenal film all 3 of us have now seen.
An epic film in the truest sense of that word.
A phenomenal epic film that we'll be discussing tonight at length.
Spoilers!
No other topics. Just this. Yes. There will be spoilers. Oh, the spoilers.
If you haven't seen it, stop it now. Stop this now if you give a shit.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame.
Actually, come to me if you haven't seen it. We found the one.
No, I know a few people that haven't seen it
Well,
yet.
no. None of my coworkers have seen it, and
Yeah.
it's killing me.
I'm
And
just saying,
people are
we
like,
are.
I'm not going to see it because it's 3 hours. I'm just like,
We're
what is
not
wrong with
even.
you?
But these same people watch Lord of the Rings. Beyond that, though, I'd like to say this. It is less than 2 weeks in, and he is already the top grossing movie of all time, adjusted for inflation. It is shattering every record that exists.
Well, I mean, it's a thing. It happened. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. We obviously all saw Avengers Endgame.
When did you see it, Ray?
Ray had to mute themselves. for those listening. Ray
And Mom is giving Ray shit.
Ray saw the film a couple nights ago,
I'm actually the last of us to see it.
which I thought was surprising. And the fact that I've
Yes.
seen it twice is like amazing. Is Toddy Podcast going to have to go and post some bail?
Okay. I think it's done.
Oh god,
Well-
I'm sorry.
Last night is when I saw it.
Yes. Ray saw it last night. Ballin saw it today. It is super fresh in Ballin's mind.
Oh
Yeah.
Now, prior to you guys seeing it, I had said, without getting into spoilers, there will be a lot to unpack after the film.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like coming back from a week's vacation level of unpacking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like moving back home after college unpacking.
Oh.
And I'm just gonna say this. I have choked up during films in the theater before. I have gotten close. This is the first time I've ever actually cried at a movie.
I can't
I'm not
say that.
saying-
I can't say that.
Well, I can, and I just did. I'm just saying that gives you an idea of the emotional impact of this film.
So with this movie here, I can count on one hand, the first time I saw it anyway, I can count on one hand the amount of times I did not cry during scenes. I can count 5 scenes I did not cry during the first time I watched it. I am an emotional fucking mess. And I realized this. The second time, it was better, but I still cried a lot. So
I thought I was going to make it through.
no,
the entire
no,
film,
no.
and then Peter's reaction to Tony at the end, when Tony, after he used the snap, that's what got me. That's what finally broke through the barrier, and then Pepper just devastated.
What? Well, I mean, we're jumping way ahead on this. Like,
I know.
let's rewind this a bit, and we'll go back to we'll start at the beginning, because it starts with a fucking gut punch.
Yes, it does.
So
It's beautifully orchestrated one at that.
So I'm sitting. Apparently, that scene was supposed to be was originally in Infinity War.
Yeah.
The scene was originally going to be right after Thanos snaps, before you see him in the basically in the Soul Stone, so to speak.
It honestly would have made an excellent mid-credits scene.
It would have, yes, but they started it as an. They started they gave you this hard open of Hawkeye on his farm on house arrest, teaching his daughter how to shoot a bow and arrow.
Having kids who have horrible ideas about food.
Yeah. Were you talking about the ketchup on a hot dog?
Oh, yes. And mayonnaise on the hot dog, too. Let's face it, that...
Mayo on hot dogs. First off, if for anybody listening, if you do mayo on hot dogs, I mean, when I worked in a gas station, I would see people do this all the time.
That
And
what kills me. Ray has mayo on hot dogs. That's all I'm saying.
And
okay, good.
yeah, it's only beets and mayo on hot dogs.
Yeah.
But no, I would see people put mayo on hot dogs. Ray. Do I have to give you disappointing dad face like I do the people at work?
I prefer sriracha mustard, but that's just me.
I like using stone ground mustard. Stone ground is fucking great. Fair. That is fair.
But we are getting so far.
Yeah, we are getting off topic. So I'm sitting there in the theater. The scene starts. The movie starts, and the second the movie starts, I'm sitting there in the theater going, "Oh no, oh no,
Yeah.
no, no!" And then you see Hawkeye teaching his daughter how to shoot a bow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. And then there's a little comedy moment about, like, who puts mayo on a hot dog? And I'm like, yeah,
right?
Who the fuck does that? Weirdos. That's why. And then from there, they all turn to dust and fucking Niagara Falls out of me, man. Like, I just lost it right there at the beginning. I'm starting to tear up talking about this.
Fair enough. I mean,
it was a
intense look.
fucking gut punch right at the start, and right after that, then you get the little Marvel title thing, and I'm sitting there going, "Well played, Russos. You're making me feel feelings. Well played." But I was just like, it set the tone. It really did. Ken.
Okay, we're good.
All right, awesome.
Except I just slammed my knee into my desk. Oh.
It's all right. So
if I wasn't crying about Hawkeye, I'm crying now.
Fair.
Oh, it hurt.
So you've both seen the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the fact that Carol Danvers was a plot device.
I feel that.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
She was
like,
used as essentially for two big moments. That's it.
yeah.
She wasn't a plot device. She was a weapon.
No, she was the means to get Tony back to Earth.
Oh yeah.
And also
I have a comment about that scene.
So,
Yeah.
so she was literally Deus Ex Marvel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Twice in the movie.
Yeah.
Danvers X Marvel. But so here's a comment I want to make though, and I made a similar comment. It actually dovetails into a comment I made when we were talking about Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So the way she's basically introduced to the heroes of Earth, coming back basically, is she is a red, blue, and gold-clad figure bringing a craft down to the ground that cannot fly under its own power anymore, which is exactly how Superman was introduced in the modern age, and pretty much a costume with his colors. They are not. I always thought they were going to be making her into their Wonder Woman. They made her into their Superman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And which is why actually having her pretty much showing up at the end. I do have to say I wish that there had been more of her, but having her showing up at the end is pretty much shades of Superman versus Darkseid.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong, but
especially when she no-sold that headbutt.
Okay, that was
Oh, that was beautiful. I was like,
to be fair, and I think I said this to Storms because Storms had saw the movie before. I mean, obviously, he saw the movie before you guys. But
theater working.
yeah, well, he saw the movie before me too. It's like whatever.
Okay. Lucky and theater working do not belong in the same sentence.
That's fair.
And I remember him sending the message to everybody saying like, "Hey, when you guys see this, message me. We need to talk."
Yeah,
Yeah.
at me.
Yeah, at me,
Yeah,
because we need to talk. And one of the things was like it had to deal with, I mean, I at one point I'm like, that headbutt though. I mean, that is
Yeah.
basically every argument I've ever had with an ex, where it's just like, and I'm not saying like I headbutt them because that's horrible, but I'm just saying,
It's horrible.
but I'm saying like it's just like, oh well, it's just like, all right, well we're gonna do this. No, we're not. And it's just like completely no sells it. I'm like, because that is exactly what happens. It's just like she gave that look of like, no, bitch,
That
we ain't.
defiant look.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, we're doing
Yeah.
what I want. And I'm like,
Absolutely.
no.
That was a World of Cardboard moment.
Oh,
from
God.
Carol, which is why I say they are, definitely making her out to be their Superman.
The problem is, I mean, she's off world, right? So she's dealing with a bunch of other threats and stuff like that. I get that. She's dealing with she's helping restabilize other areas, which I get. I get that. Like, that's why we're not going to really showcase her in the film.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, she comes in at the most opportune moments, right?
Yeah.
Other than that, like, I mean, I feel personally that she's way too overpowered of a character.
And like Superman, who is also way too overpowered of a character,
Mm-hmm.
they really didn't know what to do with her beyond using her as a major.
It's
Plot device.
I
To be
don't
perfectly,
that's personally my problem with it. I mean,
that's fair.
it's.
I mean, I never liked Superman, but I love Carol Danvers.
So
when given the right writers, Superman can be good.
I'll give you that.
it's. I mean, it's very
I just have
much
a bias against him, so
It's very much we brought her in, like we gave her her own movie,
yeah.
to introduce the character, and then at the end of the movie we go and say, oh hey, look how overpowered she is. We have to take her out of the universe until she's needed, and then she comes back. They bring her back for Endgame, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's next for Carol? Like we've seen what she can do.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of threat can you put her up against at this point? The only thing you can really do is bring her in for like a galactic level threat. And I'm not saying Galactus. I'm talking Beyonders. I'm talking Annihilus. I'm talking, like that's the shit I'm talking about. Because, I mean, you can't have her, what's she gonna do? Fight Super Skrull? Like, that's a no fucking contest.
My theory is that Captain Marvel 2 is going to see her reduced in power.
They have to. They really have to.
Mm-hmm.
I think basically what you're going to see is you're going to realize the Avengers Endgame is actually the midpoint of her trilogy. Captain Marvel introduces her and gives you an idea of her power. Endgame shows you just how powerful she is when she cuts loose. I mean, her ripping through that ship.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And then Captain Marvel 2 is going to be her being brought down to near superhuman levels.
I mean, it's just they have to do something. Like the character's got to be completely retuned. I mean, they leveled her to a certain point just specifically for Endgame, basically. I mean she tear through a ship as well in Captain Marvel?
Yep. That's actually her go-to move, is to just fly through ships.
Yeah. Apparently.
I mean, who the hell does that? I mean, really?
Carol Danvers.
But yeah, so from there, from the Hawkeye scene, we get the Marvel opening. Did you have anything to add about the Hawkeye scene, Ray? Now that you can actually speak.
Well, as I said before, I prefer ketchup on my hot dogs.
You're wrong.
But
It's the only thing I eat on my hot dogs. So.
But we still love you.
To be fair, I don't really
Sriracha
like hot
mustard and
dogs.
sauerkraut.
I don't really like hot
Ooh.
dogs in the first place. I hate
That's-
sauerkraut. I hate mustard.
What?
I do not like sauerkraut and I do not like mustard. With a burning passion of dislike.
Something, something, something. Your generation, something, something. Like,
No, it's just my personal taste buds.
no,
Okay,
like
right? As a kid, here's what I had on my hot dogs, okay? You get the hot dog, sauerkraut, mustard, and mashed potatoes all in one.
you know,
And it was much better than ketchup could be. Trust me.
you know, for
So I really don't like mustard. I have never liked mustard. On anything.
Ray fact, Ray strongly dislikes mustard.
Yes, very
The
strongly.
only thing I really like it on is, hot dog like sausages, honestly, and
The-
pretzels.
The only for me, the only purpose of mustard is to be mixed into egg salad. Or
I
deviled
hate egg
eggs.
salad and deviled eggs. I hate hard-boiled eggs in general.
Well, there you go, ball in fact.
Yeah, they smell like death and feet.
Fair.
Fair.
But no, during the Hawkeye scene,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I cried. But I was very much. I was like, oh, it's my boy, because you guys know how much I love Hawkeye.
Yeah, I mean Hawkeye's.
Um,
I mean, I'm happy he's getting a Disney Plus series.
Yeah,
Though I do, part of me does expect him to be wearing sweatpants like most of the time. I want him.
you
and
know,
have to.
I want Hawkeye.
Yes.
That's what I want. I want a Hawkeye series. We're getting WandaVision. We're getting Falcon and Bucky.
yes.
Apparently, we're getting Power Pack. And
Which is
something
Four
voluntary.
superpowered kids, literally preteens, 4 of them, who get powers
Oh.
from an alien horse person.
Also,
why does this feel like Animorphs?
No, it's a race basically of just horse people. One of them gives them powers. They don't change into animals or into anything
Okay.
else. They just have
Okay.
powers.
and what is it? Another one is Kamala Khan.
I did not know that. Live action?
From my understanding, that's what they're looking to do. It's
That will be interesting.
it's not going to, like, the Kamala Khan and the Power Pack is probably not going to be a launch title, obviously. They have a lot on the docket to begin with. But it is something that they've decided that would be better on as a series than as part of a
Yeah.
film. Because otherwise they were going to introduce Kamala Khan into the Captain Marvel movies.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say, anytime you're looking at child actors, you have to go series rather than film. You're only going to get one film.
True.
They age
true.
too damn quick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People, you'll have to explain why they're 4 years older in this movie than they were in the last one.
There was a 5-year tie jump.
Fun fact, that 5-year time jump was actually inspired by the What If comics.
Oh.
Which is also getting its own series on
Yes,
Disney
and I'm
Plus.
very looking forward to that. What If is absolutely one of my favorites. I love alternate timelines and alternate history, so
And you loved Endgame.
yes.
So good. It
Um,
was so good.
so, anything else about the Hawkeye thing besides you cried
Um,
and you like ketchup on your ketchup on hot dogs?
Yeah. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Okay. So
I mean, I have to admit, I wasn't really. Didn't really hit me that hard with Hawkeye because I absolutely expected his family to be dusted.
okay. So here's
Okay,
the thing. I expected it as well. It's just that like them showing like it happening. Like as I said, I sat there in that theater and they opened. They didn't show a fucking character. And I just saw that farm, and I'm like, oh no. Like, I knew where this was going.
I think for me, it was because it was so early in the film, I had a resistance built up. I'm like, okay, my shields are up, they're at full strength.
Fair.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's
down again. This is part of what's wearing me down. Yeah.
That's definitely fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we're in space. You know, we're in space with Tony and Nebula. Who, by the way, I thought that was great.
Yeah, that was adorable.
Her taking care of him, and
them playing paper football.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And her winning, him shaking her hand, and she's just like confused by this concept.
Yeah. Did you have fun? Yes. She's so intense, and it's wonderful for her.
Yeah. Oh, she really. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Nebula's been one of my, like, in the MCU's been one of my favorite characters.
Yes.
Karen Gillan.
I love Karen Gillan.
She's an amazing actress to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But then you focus that in with her work as Nebula, and I mean, you're just like, holy shit. You know, Tony does his little thing. He sends out his message. He's, oh, well, you know, we had to repair the ship, and, you know, the power cells are gone. So now we're basically floating in space, and the air is running out. Like, we got, like, a day's worth of air left.
So, that one, like, it kind of had me, like, the stuff that he was saying.
Yeah.
Kind of had me going like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, my... Not, like, actually crying, but, like, the...
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe
no,
it. What I do with my hands. Sure. Not really, but like you guys have never like actually seen me watch a movie that I get into emotionally.
No.
So I have like this process like where I start out sitting and then something happens and I go like this and then I go like this.
I've seen that.
And then I go like this. And then I start bawling. It doesn't. So, and it kind of depends on the theater too, because like the theater that I go to has the recliner seats, and so they're
wonderful.
They are so wonderful, but they kind of give me a little bit more range on my movement. And so like it's a whole lot easier to curl up or you know.
Mm-hmm.
Do my thing. So Hawkeye had me like a few tears came out.
Mm-hmm.
Tony had me going like this, but I didn't actually cry because I knew he was going to make it.
Yeah, there's no way they're going to kill Tony off at the beginning.
So that scene, I cried because like it was weird because that one I cried because of like these two have formed a bond.
Yeah.
Like Nebula and Tony have now formed a bond. Like they're pack mates
Yeah.
now. Like just this.
Yeah.
That's totally fair.
And yeah, so I mean there was that. And then of course like him laying on the floor and then her putting him in the chair. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, man.
That one got me. That one got my heart. That's another thing that I end up doing is I'll end up doing this.
And then Tony's getting blinded by the light of Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Who takes the whole ship down to fucking Earth. Meanwhile, everybody's just like in the Avengers compound, like, fuck, what are we gonna do? Like,
right.
And then they meet up with her. They meet up with them, whatnot. Tony is like so super dehydrated and starved.
Emaciated.
Oh yeah.
That was some good CGI.
That was some really good CGI.
Yeah.
Not the best use of CGI. That came really, really close to the end.
Mm.
But yeah. Yeah. Where
Took
you're
me a
just
second,
playing-
I was
yeah,
like-
yeah,
Wait,
yeah,
hold on.
yep. Which we will talk about much later as we get
Yes.
there.
But then they go to Carol's just like, oh, like there was the whole like the group meets Carol thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that was just kind of weird. Because
Well, mostly because the credit scene in
Yeah.
Captain Marvel was written out. It didn't happen.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was just
Yeah, that is.
That
weird.
was kind of that kind of bothered me a lot.
They effectively reframed it for Endgame.
yeah.
Yeah. I didn't particularly care for that because I liked the post credit scene of Captain
yeah.
Marvel. I wanted to see that get expounded upon, but
Well, different writing teams, unfortunately.
yeah.
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 But then they, so then it's just like, what is it? You had Thor sitting there ready to drop his mixtape. Him with the hoodie on and him just kind of leaned down and shit. I'm just like, he's dropping a fucking mixtape. It looks like every street rapper that's trying to push his fucking $10 CD on you. What's your name,
Yeah.
man? What's your name? That'll be $10. And you're like, I didn't fucking ask you to sign a CD to me. Well, man, it's yours. It's $10 though, man. Shit. God damn it, Thor. Fucking panhandling in New York City. God damn it.
Well, he looked like he was later on.
Well. But then we had we had that little moment where like it was that stare down between Thor and
Oh, I love that.
Carol.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And she doesn't flinch.
She doesn't flinch. She just kind of narrows her eyes a little bit more at him, and I'm like,
Yeah. I like this one. I expect you to go, another.
yeah. Yeah. And she's just like, "Oh, I'm gonna go kill Thanos." It's that
Yeah.
simple. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. I got it penciled in for later.
yeah, that's my 3:00. So they end up finding out where he is, and they do the whole thing. They go into space. There's that one line like, "Hey, have any of you guys never been in space before?" And like a couple of them hold up their head and go, "Don't puke on my ship."
Yeah. Rocket, as always, is delightful in this entire film.
Yes, yeah, I
Definitely.
thought that was great. I really did.
Yep. The little trash panda was wonderful.
Yeah, and they kill Thanos.
So
And
I'm
they
not gonna
execute
lie,
it wonderfully.
like I sat there and I'm like, well, that was a short 3 hours.
Oh no, Thanos
That's
was
the thought
never
that went through my head. That was the thought that went through my head was that was a short 3 hours.
You know what, for me, like, I was just like, in my head, the second he got beheaded.
Mhm.
Well, first off, when he gets his arm cut off, like,
Yeah.
That's when I thought that was a short 3 hours. Was when he got the
Yeah.
arm cut off.
yeah, but even before that, like,
Good luck snapping shit at that point.
when we see Thanos like in the garden, and he's just, and you could see like he's in pain,
Mhm.
and he's just
Yeah.
like kind of limping, and like he can't use that one arm, like that arm is done,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, oh no, no,
It's never going to be this easy.
yeah, exactly, like, and then they come in,
Nobody ever got to have world's mightiest heroes from beating up a kindergarten class.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
yeah, and Thor cuts off fucking Thanos' arm, basically, his
Yeah.
fucking his gauntlet hand. And then it's like, oh hey, the stones are gone. Like, well, ain't that something? It's just like I've
And then he
reduced
takes. Yeah.
them down to
atoms.
atoms. Now
And then.
it's funny because and you guys have seen this now, and obviously we're talking spoilers and shit.
Yeah.
The Russos have said that the stones, like, yeah, he reduced them down to atoms, but that doesn't mean that the stones were destroyed.
Yeah,
Right.
you can't destroy them. You can just shift their form.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right. We're. This is interesting. And
At
then,
least they didn't give Captain Marvel the ability to form new stones from the atoms and stuff.
yeah. Oh God.
That would have been a short 3 hours.
True facts.
Yeah. But yeah, then then Thor to Cap. We have this very like powerful moment between Thanos and Nebula, where he's just like, maybe I was too harsh on you, like that kind of stuff. And I'm like, damn, hit me with the fucking field, and then boom, your head's gone. I'm like, shit.
Thor took Thanos' advice.
Yeah, one for the head.
One for the head. Yep.
Yeah.
He even said that too.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, I'm like, oh, okay, he's gonna be fucked up from doing that. Like, he's gonna be fucked up from doing that. Because, I mean, the main reason why he did that was because he felt like he failed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he didn't feel like he failed. He failed because Odin was dead, Frigga was dead, he was the king of Asgard, and Asgard fell on his watch.
Yeah.
And he thought that killing Thanos was going to help him redeem himself and restore Asgard, and there was nothing he could do. Thanos had already won.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And for a Norse god, especially a Norse god, winning the battle but still losing the war, unfathomable.
Yeah.
So he had no idea what the next move was.
Yeah.
He was completely out of his element from millennia of life. He had never experienced anything like this. So of course he went a little off the reservation.
Yeah. That's fair. Then we have our 5-year time jump. I mean, one of the most pertinent things was the meeting, the survivors meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh.
With
interesting fact, one of the people at the survivors meeting was played by a man named Jim Starlin,
who created Thanos.
Bingo, the creator of Thanos in the Iron Man.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the other guy was was that Anthony Russo? I think so.
But still,
it's one of the Russo brothers. Tribute. Yeah, no, I thought that was terrific.
The first of many tributes.
Oh yeah.
Spread throughout the film.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, this movie was very much like everything we wanted as comic book fans.
It was a love letter to Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
It was a love letter to the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm going to be talking more about those love letter to the MCU aspects as we go through.
Yes.
Because there were tons of them. Yeah.
So, I mean, we get that. Then we get back to the whole, like, Avengers compound, and, you have the
amazingly overworked Black Widow.
Yeah. Oh, no shit.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And we get a hint at something coming, which I thought was fucking terrific, especially by who shut that shit down real quick. Well, what about these earthquakes in the oceans?
Yeah,
they're earthquakes. Don't worry about them. Like, just.
I mean, we've got some undersea earthquakes in the Atlantic where no. Wakanda does not concern itself with that.
Yeah, no. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Wakanda may have caused that, but
yeah, because and that obviously is just like a little nod to Namor,
Yeah, Ray has this look of not understanding. In the comics, there was a humongous war between Atlantis and Wakanda, where Namor was trying to kill the Black Panther.
Yeah. And Namor floods Wakanda and says, "Hope you enjoy being a king of a dead city." Like he becomes like a real asshole.
So that might have been a reference,
yes,
to Namor and Wakanda striking against him.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I hope it was, because that would be interesting as hell.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, so I think it was that scene like where they were showing like all the. No, that was back when when the snappages first happened before they went and killed Thanos, and they were showing like the different people that were missing,
Yeah.
or whatever. And Shuri was on there, and that just devastated me.
Fun fact: they
I was
thought
just
Ant-Man
like,
was.
No, Shuri.
Fun fact: they thought Ant-Man had been snappage, so he was on there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the picture they used for him was Paul Rudd's IMDb profile photo. That's just hilarious.
Oh wow.
But yeah, so it's, you know, we get to this, you know, this 5 year later thing, you know, overworked Black Widow, having herself a peanut butter sandwich
While having a holo conference.
while having a hall conference. Good old Steve Rogers shows up and says, "I don't want to make you more miserable, so I'm not going to cook for you."
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm like, "Oh, you son of a bitch! That was great. Thank you, Mr. Rogers." Captain Rogers, rather. But yeah, and then we have the whole Ant-Man. Like, the Ant-Man sequence was weird, because like basically the hero of the MCU is a fucking rat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, the hero of the MCU is whoever decided the exterminators weren't worth calling in to take care of things.
Yeah, you're
The
not wrong.
manager of the use of the storage place basically decided to do things on the cheap.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Though it could also be whoever had the vehicle towed there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Yep.
I mean that was just the guy has supposed is on the list of vanished, and yet we're still gonna go put his stuff in his
Yeah.
van in the storage unit because that makes sense.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. It's a block of
It's
names
just
you have to
slightly
accept.
awkward.
Scott Lang seeing his name on the wall of the Vanished,
Mm-hmm.
I teared up,
But not his family.
but not his family, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
And then
I mean-
him meeting teenage Cassie Lang, and I'm like,
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, his reaction was perfect for a man of his stature.
well, I mean, I would have made that pun more for Cassie Lang than Scott, but
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, she becomes a size-changing hero named Stature in the Marvel Comics.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, full of little nods to comics and everything like that, and
Yeah.
he's about the right age for it now.
Yeah. And then, I mean,
Gosh, yeah, no.
And he says, you got so big.
Yeah.
She doesn't shrink, she only grows.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And,
So-
I mean, then apparently he goes on a cross-country trip. He leaves his daughter behind. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So yeah, he does this cross-country trip and shows up at the Avengers compound. And then there's like the trailer moment of like, is that an old recording? It's like, no, that's the front gate.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then he comes in and he's just like, anybody eating that sandwich? I'm starved. Which
Much like Tony, he revolves around food.
yeah.
Yeah.
Orange slices, sandwiches.
Yep. And he's just like, oh well, you know, we could just do a time heist, like,
Yeah.
which
Oh gosh, him and Brody with the freaking all the different movie references.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
And I'm sitting here, I'm like, yo, it's a movie. It's not real. And I'm like, wait, this is a movie. What am I doing?
are you basing all of this on Back to the Future?
Yeah. Which, yeah, okay, fun fact. Basically, damn, I'm trying to remember. At the end of the film, oh yeah, basically the sunglasses that are being worn by Thor are actually the same ones that Marty wears in Back to the Future 2 in the 1950s.
Nice.
The same exact model. Yeah. Because they're having so much fun with throwing in references like that.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, Ant-Man goes, Die Hard. Wait, that one doesn't work. Except Bruce Willis has been in 2 different time travel movies.
Yeah.
But neither of them were Die Hard.
Yeah.
No.
So.
And one of them he had to kill himself.
Yeah.
That was what, Looper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So.
But yeah, no, it's a weird thing. It really is. I mean, the time travel stuff, like, I was like, all right, well, it's gonna happen, you know?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, well, let's try to get Tony, and then we see Iron Dad,
Yeah.
and he's just...
I was like, oh, this is going to be problematic for them.
Yeah. And he's just like, I'm not... No, I have a family. Like, I'm sorry.
Ugh.
And then I loved his daughter coming out and being like, "Mommy sent me to save you."
Yeah, that was too cute.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh.
There was a long while there where I wasn't entirely positive that they had Tony hooked up with Pepper because they kept referring to her very obliquely and not showing her.
Yes.
And that was actually interesting. It actually developed a little bit of tension for a moment there.
Mm-hmm.
Because you weren't positive he wound up with Pepper.
So, okay, so one of the things I thought, and I know we just kind of skipped a little bit, was the interaction with Tony and Morgan, like the first time we see them both on screen, and she's wearing the helmet.
Yeah.
And he's just like, where'd you find it? In the garage. Did you go looking for it? No. Do you like being in the garage? Daddy likes being in the garage too. And I'm just like, fuck you, Russos. Fuck you.
Yep.
Fuck you. And then, like, as he's walking away,
what they do.
Yeah, and as he's walking away, he goes, "Don't worry, Mommy doesn't wear anything I buy her anyway." Like,
yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, like this movie had so many payoffs though in the third act.
Yeah.
I mean, just in general, but in the third act, like everything. I don't know, it was like, oh shit. But yeah, I mean, Tony's just like, no, we can't do time travel, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. And Tony being Tony decides that he's going to try to work on it anyway.
Right, right. Like, he wasn't fooling anyone.
He can't stop himself.
Yeah.
If he could have stopped himself, the Civil War wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
In either movie or comic.
Yep. But then they go and say, oh, well, let's... we need somebody with a big, we can't get Stark, so let's get somebody with a big brain. And then they introduce us to Professor Hulk.
They introduced us actually to the villain of the film, and I say that because he stole every scene he was in. So he was pretty much the biggest thief of the entire movie.
How so?
How did Ruffalo steal every scene he was in?
I don't think he stole every scene he was in. There was a few. I mean, to be fair, the diner scene points to Ant-Man. Paul Rudd won that scene.
Oh, yeah. It did.
No, they don't. Just take the fucking phone. Like, take the goddamn phone. I didn't like the fact that they're just like, yeah, I spent 18 months in a lab, and boom, I took the brain and the brawn, and now it's together. Like that's how we're going to... we're going to explain that?
The funny thing is this. He thinks he's Banner's brain, but it's not. It's actually a fusion of the two. Yeah. He's a lot more gregarious. He's a lot more outgoing. He's a lot more confident.
Yeah.
That's true.
He is Hulk with the intelligence of Banner and the memories of Banner, but not the personality of Banner.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I would have just liked a little bit more than them just like writing it off as a quick explainer.
There was a lot to put into that film, though.
Yeah. I mean, it was already at a 3-hour runtime, my dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, even if, like, while he was talking about it, they showed clips or something, I would have been fine with that. It just...
It would have been hilarious if they'd done it in panel style like Ang Lee's Hulk.
Or it would have been even funnier if he pulled out a PowerPoint presentation on what happened.
Yeah.
Because Hulk doing a PowerPoint would be terrific. But I mean, that scene itself felt lacking. Like, the only thing that was going for it really was Paul Rudd. With him just, like, once again, they're around food, and it's Ant-Man. And kids are like, oh, like, let me go in, I want a picture with Hulk. And it's like, do you want a picture with me? I'm Ant-Man. I'll just have a picture. They don't even know who I am. Like, just... He said he doesn't want a picture with me. Just
yeah. Oh, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, it was Paul Rudd. Like, you bring Paul Rudd in to really break the tension.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great. Then what is it? Then they go back to the Avengers compound, which is a huge trend in this fucking movie. They keep going back to that compound.
Yep.
Yeah.
Must be important for something later on.
Well, they had to get all the shots of it while they could.
Yeah, exactly. And then, what is it? Ant-Man, what is it? Paul Rudd's sitting there trying to have tacos.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Nebula...
No, that wasn't it yet. That wasn't it yet.
That was...
No, because the next thing that happened... he wasn't at the tacos yet. Because they did the whole experiment thing where Banner's trying to...
Oh, yeah.
Time travel.
Stealing the scene like crazy.
Well, yeah. You're skipping ahead to after...
Oh, after Stark came back. Yeah, that's right.
After Stark came back.
No, because Stark didn't come back at that point. Stark didn't come back at that point. He came back after that sequence. With the devices. I mean, I saw the movie 2 weeks ago. So...
Yeah, I saw it last night.
I saw it this afternoon. And I'm having trouble putting those two together because there's still so much to unpack, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean...
So needless to
I'm pretty sure... Because the experiment only happened... There was only Banner...
Widow, Cap.
Ant-Man, and Cap.
Yeah.
So when he's doing the taco thing, that's when other people are showing up.
Yeah.
So the taco thing wasn't yet.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, it's... God, yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I just wanted to get to another moment with Ant-Man and food.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fair.
Yeah.
But you gotta decide
So
if
there,
we're doing a sequence or not.
So, I mean, okay, so there's a time travel experiment, which...
I mean, to be fair, we're talking about time travel. We can go whatever sequence we want.
This is true.
So they get...
So all of the women, no.
So they got Banner to do the time travel experiment with Ant-Man, who gets sent to the past, comes back as teenage Scott Lang, then old man Scott Lang, then baby Scott Lang, and then Scott Lang.
Yeah.
Who is
Scott Lang, who doesn't know?
Who's confused who wet himself.
Yeah. I think it might have been him.
Was it baby me? Or was it old man me? Or was it me?
Yeah.
Yeah, then
Stark shows up.
Then Stark shows up and goes, turned him into a baby, didn't you? Like he fucking knew.
Yep.
Probably because he's got spy cameras hidden around the place because he's Stark.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then
the shield.
Then he gives Cap the shield, and he's just like, I didn't bring one for everybody. So.
Yeah.
Plus, I got to get it out
for himself, though, as you see later.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
excuse me.
But yeah, I mean, it was just that whole sequence, like, and then yeah, there's the taco scene.
Yeah.
Where Scott sitting there gonna have himself some lunch, and then the ship carrying Rocket and Nebula land, and they're like some idiots by the watch out, Rhodey. There's an idiot in the landing zone, and then Rhodey just kind of drops down. Ant-Man's tacos go everywhere.
Man. I love that line.
Yeah.
Hey there, regular size man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then Hulk comes out and sees Scott without tacos and
gives him tacos
and goes, here's 2 tacos, sir.
Yeah.
And I was just, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I cried there too, because I was just like, this is like a genuine moment of like, hey man, I'm sorry that shit happened to you. Here's some tacos, and I'm just like,
I did not cry at the tacos.
I cried.
Too busy laughing.
I fucking cried at the tacos.
We all have different cry thresholds. We've addressed that.
Yeah,
that's fair. I'm just happy that I'm not the most weepy one, apparently.
Well, I mean, okay.
Damn,
to be fair,
damn.
To be fair, my first screening of this, there was 5 scenes I did not cry during.
See, this is weird for me because usually I'm the weepiest person when it comes to movies.
I know.
I did not cry that many times.
I mean,
I teared up. I teared up quite a few times, but I did not actually cry more than probably 3 times.
Okay, so for me, I qualify it as crying if, like, yeah, I mean, tearing up's going to happen.
Yeah.
But, like, when I feel the tears running down my face,
yeah,
I'm crying.
That's
I'm
what
crying.
I'm referring to.
Yeah.
That is what I'm referring to.
Yeah. So, and then, I mean, then there's ugly crying. And I mean, ugly cry. Ooh.
Oh, I've got a few movies that'll do that to me.
Yeah. Endgame did it to me a couple times.
My crying was restrained in the sense that I was able to not make any weepy sounds.
I don't make sounds. I'm a very quiet crier.
I only made sounds when I was ugly crying, so.
Now, I did make sounds. There were a couple times where I got surprised by something funny, and I did that really loud, like, really loud, and you can hear it echoing.
So all you hear is Ray laughs like a chicken.
Yeah, when I get surprised, when laughter gets
Ray
surprised,
is now chicken boo. Ray is now chicken boo in my mind.
So at this point, we're about the same point we would be in the movie about an hour in. We might be moving a little quicker than that. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah,
then time travel. It gets weird.
Yeah, it does. It really does. And then when we get to that shit, it's just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Rocket and Hulk go to see Thor in New Asgard.
Oh god.
Oh god.
Which,
Moses.
by the way, New Asgard, I think that's great. I really do.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong.
Be in Oklahoma, but that's me.
Yeah. Well. I mean, you're not wrong.
But they're also of Norse legend. You got to have it fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Asgard actually plopped himself down in Oklahoma in the comics.
Yeah, they did.
Oh.
So I wanted that reference.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I see that then.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's that. It's just, And then we meet. As he's been dubbed by the internet, Thick Thor, with 3 C's.
Oh my gosh.
The Thor I could actually cosplay without having to try to pretend to try to get in shape. You'd be like, oh, hey, look, I get to be Thor. I'm working on my Thor body. Like, how are you doing that? And it's just me drinking. And I'm like, another. Just smashing bottles in the paint.
Yeah.
Just working on my Thor body. So
No, when they wouldn't show his gut, like when we could only see, before they actually showed his full body.
Yeah.
I was just sitting there, I'm like, no. No.
The thing is, they had worked him up practically as such a sex symbol during the entire run that doing this was the comedic payoff for that. And this is how, pay attention to everyone who's trying to do a Marvel movie about comedy. And if you're going to put Thor in and do comedy, this is how you do it. You don't make him tell jokes. You make the situation around him funny.
Yeah. Oh, and him yelling at the
Fortnite kid.
The Fortnite kid.
New Master 69.
Yes, Noob Master 69.
Yeah, and let's just address it. So this is where Korg and Meek are, and Ballin hates this with a passion.
Yeah. I don't like characters as they appear.
I saw them and I was like, Ballin's getting pissed.
And meanwhile, I was just like, yay! Like,
but they only show up for a moment, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I do want a Korg pop with him in a Hawaiian shirt, though. It's got to be a thing. It needs to happen. Funko, make it happen. Make it so.
I was gonna say Funko if you're listening.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we have Thor, and he looks like much like Tony after the Battle of New York.
Yeah.
Thor has gone through some shit. And he doesn't know how to handle it. I mean, so what does he do? He sinks into a depression. He drinks as much as he can, and just
because that's how Vikings deal with things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what he does. It's just, and I'm like, all right, well, this is, I mean, like, I legitimately felt bad for the character.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You could feel the pain just.
Oh, yeah.
It was. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And it's actually a great mood whiplash in that they make it out to be funny at first until you start to realize why he's that way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And now you're like, oh god, I shouldn't have laughed at that.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree with you on that. And I'm like, holy shit, like, this got deep real quick, you know?
Yeah.
And Thor's like, no, I'm going to stay here in New Asgard and stuff like that. And then Rocket's like, we got beer on the ship.
What kind?
And, and then we got, look at that. Now we have Thor at the Avenger compound. And that's when Stark goes, out of my way, Lebowski, or move out of the way, Lebowski. Yeah. I forget exactly what it is. Watch it, Lebowski. Like, something like that, But he calls him Lebowski because he looks like the dude from The Big Lebowski. Like, it's just...
And because so did Obadiah Stane. So did Obadiah Stane, though.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. But yeah, so, like... Then we get the whole, like, all right, well, let's figure out where... if we're going to do this time heist, like, we only have... one particle, like, we each have 2 particles.
Yeah.
One to get there, one to get back.
One to get there, grab as many pin particles as we can for the next few dozen tries.
Like, come on, guys. Freaking be smart.
Yeah.
Oh, we also forgot that Hawkeye was recruited by Black Widow.
Oh yes. Oh my gosh. Oh, that scene.
No,
I was sitting there. I was
Ronan
like, oh,
was
Yeah.
recruited
Oh,
by
boy.
Black Widow.
He ceased to be Ronin when he removed the
Yeah.
mask.
But still, that scene with him as Ronin was amazing.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it.
I never expected him to bring that into the MCU.
I thought that was terrific, though. I really did.
That costume he was wearing in Japan was basically something he wore after the Civil War when he went by the name of Ronin.
okay.
Yeah.
Which is interesting
You see,
because
I didn't get it. I was just like, okay, he's doing something different. But
what I think is the most interesting thing is this is his first appearance after Civil War.
Yeah.
yeah,
and he's
Exactly.
and he's wearing the Ronin costume. Like,
Yeah.
all right.
I mean, this basically, it's like I said, there are a lot of nods to continuity in comics spread throughout this movie. And it's fantastic.
mm.
It's not fan-four-stick, but it's fantastic.
No. Because then nobody would have gone to see it.
Well.
In contrast to how it actually was. I'm going to break from talking about the movie for a moment to talk about the movie for a moment.
Okay.
Not the events of the film, but the film itself.
Yes.
In its opening weekend, it made domestically, not talking about the $1 billion it made worldwide, domestically, it made its entire budget in the opening weekend.
Wow.
No movie does this.
Yeah.
In its second weekend, it broke the $2 billion mark worldwide.
So would this movie be considered a success?
I mean,
A little.
It's no Batman versus Superman.
Well, you got to remember, Batman v Superman made tons of money its opening weekend, and then had a massive drop off.
Everyone who was going to see it saw it.
Yeah. I mean, they couldn't pay people to watch that movie.
Nope.
But
this is just picking up steam. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it was still so. Last night we went to the 7:00 showing because the 6:00 showing and the 6:30 showing were still sold out.
Yeah,
and
I mean, we went to the 11 a.m. showing, and there were at least 10 people in the theater. This is Philadelphia, though. Philadelphia, for some reason, doesn't do movies. I don't know why, but it's the one thing I like about living in this fucking city, is that I can go see a movie anytime I want and be guaranteed nobody's sitting around us while we're watching the movie.
Well,
it's a one benefit.
To be fair, I wouldn't want to go and see a movie in Philadelphia myself, so...
But it was still actually quite an exciting atmosphere around me. When the parts where they cheered, it felt like a full theater.
Yeah.
See, now my theater, there wasn't there was a couple times where everybody was for some reason mine doesn't get the big cheers and the everything, and so I feel weird when I'm going loudly or when I start punching the air because I can't sit there and cheer because nobody else is cheering, and I feel like it's weirdo, so I just go like this.
When we get to the part where the first cheer happened, I'm going to mention it because it was significant. But go on.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the movie experience,
yes.
I've seen it twice, 2 different theaters. I had 2 very different experiences each time I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, personally, I still cried during each showing.
Mm-hmm.
The first screening, it was opening day. And this is people that have been waiting for this. This is the culmination of 21 other films. This is the 22nd film. Oh my God. This is...
Which is why it took Thanos 22 days to destroy the stones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
But the theater was so full of energy. But then again, it's the 7 o'clock show opening night. You know,
Yeah.
everybody's full of energy. Everybody's like, "Oh my god, this is oh my god, this is gonna be great." You know, and fun fact, I got to watch Disney Nature's Penguins before I got to watching Endgame. Because I got there early enough that I was able to sit in my theater, and that's what they had running as a test to make sure that theater was working. So I got to watch the entirety of that, and it was a nature documentary, and I fucking cried during that too. I was all fucking tears.
Oh, I gotta say, I'm loving how much Ray is loving this.
This is usually me. It's really nice not to be
The second time, well, Ray, if I wanted you to cry, I would show you my reupholstered chair again.
And Ray, we don't feel shame here.
Shame is a minor here. Minor action. It's a D&D thing.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Well, see, I thought you were referencing my last name.
No, I was not.
So I was very confused.
I thought it was a hockey reference.
Yeah. Well, it's a minor offense, too, you know? Unlike this chair that I've reupholstered. You can...
Nope.
Oh. No, that's a major infraction.
So mad. It doesn't make me want to cry. It makes me want to like.
So you know what's funny about that? Like I posted those pictures and I said nailed it, which is the truth. It is brilliant. Is absolutely brilliant, but yeah, back to it, the second screening. I saw. It was like a fucking funeral. Like, everybody was quiet as shit. I was like, oh my god. Like, it was the same theater I saw Black Panther in. And I'm like, I can tolerate this.
Until later.
And then I was just like, fuck this theater. Fuck everybody in this theater. I hope this entire theater explodes. Fuck it hard. I fucking want to see. I want to see the ushers lock the doors and light the matches themselves. Like that's. But anyway, that's. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But anyway, back to the current point in the movie.
Yeah. So, what was the current part of the movie? This is about time travel, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
Everyone's been assembled, basically.
Yeah. So everybody's been assembled, and they're like, "All right, let's."
Oh, not yet. That didn't come up yet.
Let's.
Fair.
Everyone's been gathered.
Let's.
There we go.
But have they? Everybody they're like, all right, well, let's run a test. We have a couple to test to make sure this works. Yep, and then Ant-Man fucks up. We have one test, and Hawkeye's like, Quint's like, I got it, I'll do it.
Which is a nod to him being the original Goliath and using pin particles to grow.
Gotcha. I was just sitting there admiring the lovely sleeve on his arm and the awesome hug and how aesthetically pleasing he was. And yes. Just yes.
So I'm coming up to another ugly cry moment. So he uses the thing.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So
This was, I think, where I felt it start to wither me.
Yeah. So Hawkeye goes in the past, and he's back on the farm, and he, like, wait a second, this is where I am, like, and he goes towards his house, picks up the baseball glove, and he goes, oh my god, like, and then he calls out for his daughter.
Mm-hmm. And you knew this is exactly how this was going to play out, though.
And just as she's about to come, he gets pulled back to his time.
Didn't even get to see her.
Yeah, and I was just like, Jesus. Well, I may have been super weepy during the movie. Ray is super weepy right now.
That was one of the parts that I cried at. That was definitely one of the parts that I cried at.
But then he drops the baseball glove, and he's just like, all right, well, he goes, it works. Now, there was one thing that was kind of mentioned, and we'll get to it coming up, but that baseball glove, there's more to that baseball glove than what you would think. It's they explained the way time travel works, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you travel, while you're technically going into the past, you're going into, like, that is now your future.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's the past of you, but it is not your past.
Yes.
Right.
Timeline-wise, it's the past, but it's not your past. It's
Because you're still moving in a straight line forward.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you return to present time, you're going back to your past. Which brings you back to the point you were at, but whatever. So I mean, there's that. I think Hawkeye taking that glove fucked up time.
Yeah, because they were playing with it when they got snapped.
It gets mentioned later on, but yeah, him taking the glove means that that's not there, which means he created the first alternate timeline right there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of alternate timelines, guys. A lot of alternate timelines. Some of them get fixed.
Hell, to be fair, it all starts off as an alternate timeline.
Yeah.
Earth 199999.
Yeah. Which, oh shit.
It itself tells you how many there are, and that's almost 200,000 right there.
Well, apparently, after the events of Endgame, it has a new designation.
Oh.
Yes.
Which is?
So, it kills me because this spoils something that's coming up.
We've seen the movie.
This isn't about Endgame. This is something that came out of new stuff from New Spider-Man.
Oh.
Yeah. Needless to say, what's the main Marvel universe?
616.
Yeah, it's the new MCU.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's based on things that have been said. Yeah, so it's like...
So Clint didn't fuck up the MCU universe, he fucked up the comic universe.
Maybe he fucked up the MCU and made it align with the comic universe?
Because I'm just saying, after Endgame, at least upstate New York is fucked up.
Yeah, it is. It is.
At the very least.
Yep.
Not to mention, because of the 5-year jump, and because, spoiler alert, they win, there are a shitload of people who are 5 years younger than they're supposed to be.
Yeah, including Peter and all his classmates.
Yes, I know. It was Ned at the end.
Yeah. Which people were like, oh, well, the look Ned gives him is like, oh, I haven't seen you in 5 years, but I haven't aged a day. And it's just like...
that doesn't track. That
Yeah.
doesn't track at all.
Yeah, and
That bothered me.
So, and that's one thing that's been, like, out of Endgame, like, now that the spoiler gate is gone on it, they're just like, yeah, the end scene with Peter, spoilers, not that we really have to fucking say that, but
if you're watching this, you've already given up. And
exactly.
Exactly. If you're this far in, you know what you're in for.
Yeah. The end scene with Peter Parker, we see Ned's the same age. Some of Peter's classmates did not get snapped. Ned, MJ were not two of those. They were snapped along with Peter and a bunch of other classmates, you know?
Yeah.
All I can say is if they're making the movie universe in the 616 realign, they had better be recasting Tom Holland, because I do not want teenage Spider-Man being the 616 main Spider-Man, goddammit.
That's fair.
I like adult Spider-Man. I like the fact that Miles Morales is teenage Spider-Man. There's room for two.
No, there absolutely is room for two. But, you know, who knows? This could all be a misdirect from them as well.
I don't see how it can't be, is all I'm saying.
Well...
Unless you're going to totally, like, New 52 616. And that's not something I want to see happen.
Well, needless to say, Quesada he isn't, like, the editor-in-chief anymore, right?
Which is really good because, you know, all it would take is one more day of him being editor-in-chief to really fuck things up.
Anyway, back to the actual film and Endgame.
Yes.
So, now they go over, like, the whole, like, all right, so, you know, we have to get all the stones. Where are they in the timeline? Blah, 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 that kind of stuff. Right? And they break up into teams.
I love Thor talking and Ant-Man, like, avidly listening to what drunk Thor is saying.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell if he was drunk or hungover, or both.
I think he's perpetually drunk at this point.
That's fair.
I think he has an alcohol blood level.
He's drunk over. But yeah, he... Yeah.
I just thought that was adorable, because he's sitting there, like, avidly listening, and everyone else is just kind of like, okay, Thor, buddy.
Well, before that, they're just like, is he asleep? I think he might be dead. Like,
oh, poor Thor.
But yeah, so it's just like, all right, well, wait a second. There's 3 stones in New York at the same time.
Yeah, if you go in the right ear.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right.
And leave it to Widow to put that together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, the tactician.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Person figuring out, covert strike teams is going to try and figure out how to make it work the best.
Exactly.
Expediency is what a spy is all about.
Oh, yeah. And then it's like, all right, so there's that. Then we got to send a team out into space. So to get the Power Stone and the Soul Stone.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't know what the cost of the Soul Stone is.
Well, I'm not so sure that Nebula had to clue somebody in, because who do you think put together the teams? Honestly, who do you think actually put them together?
I don't think Nebula put together that team.
No, I don't think so either. But whoever did knows the cost of the Soul Stone, because there is no other combination of people that could have been sent there to allow the sacrifice to happen. No, the available people with the, not even Rhodey and Tony, honestly.
I mean, to be fair, Cap and Hawkeye. I mean, not Hawkeye. Cap and Ant-Man. Ant-Man would have fucking died for Cap. Like, he would have pushed.
That wouldn't have been Cap's sacrifice, though.
No, that would. Well, I mean, a little
Ant-Man would have to
wouldn't
kill
have been
Cap.
enough.
Yeah.
Ant-Man would have to kill Cap.
Yeah.
in front of Red Skull, which would
I
be
know. Yeah, but between Black Widow and Hawkeye, either one dying for the other would count as that sacrifice.
yeah.
So whoever put those teams together knew that and sent them off for one of them to die.
Yeah. All right, that's fair.
Yeah, which I don't know. Part of me thinks Cap could have put that together because Cap is all about the greater good.
Yeah. But I like how they.
Because he's a manipulative bastard.
Yeah. So, So Nebula and Rhodey go to Morag.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, which
for a fantastic scene
with
oh my gosh,
Chris Pratt doing the intro to Guardians Volume 1.
And especially the part where they cut away from him hearing the music and he's just singing into the rat a cappella. I know.
It's so beautiful, and they're just kind of staring at him like.
So he's an idiot. Yes.
Oh, that was one of the parts where I just busted out laughing.
I know.
Anyone else in the theater?
I know. It was great. That was one of my favorite scenes of the movie. Again, Nebula just proving she's one of the best characters because of how simple and understated everything she does and says is.
And then we also had Thor and Rocket going to Asgard.
Oh God, yeah. That was another part that withered me a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The whole movie was like slowly chipping me away just to get down to that payoff at the end.
Yeah. So having the moment between Frigga and Thor.
Oh gosh. And she knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she goes, I'm daughter of witch. I'm daughter of witches. Like, you can't fool me. Like,
you know that she knew though that he was going to say that she was going to die.
Yeah.
Because the way he was leading into it, there is no other conclusion she could have come to.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Yep. Yeah.
And I was just like, oh shit, like it was such, but it gave him his closure.
Mm-hmm.
It gave him the closure that he needed. And also allowed him to regain Mjolnir. Just
that was beautiful. Yeah,
I love how
it takes a moment sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it takes him a minute.
Yeah. But yeah, let me just say
so
this and the Morag moment, or what I was talking about by being a love letter to the MCU.
Yeah.
They go to meticulously recreating iconic scenes from the past 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One after another. And they're not just it's not just showing the same scenes, which a lot of movies would just use file footage. They reshot the scenes. Sometimes it's a different angle. Some of them lasted longer than the original.
But in some cases they did use just file. They did use
yes.
like
it was appropriate, but it wasn't just that. Like some movies would have done.
Like Natalie Portman.
Oh yeah.
Natalie Portman was absolutely just footage from Thor: The Dark World, and then they put Rocket in on that. Like that's all they did.
Oh but that's because I'm pretty sure she doesn't want to work with the MCU ever.
But they had her at the premiere, which was really weird.
But basically, the scenes with Rene Russo, for example, absolutely.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
And the scenes with Chris Pratt basically recreating the game, those were absolutely new because there were new angles. Him singing without the music.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I mean, technically that could have been.
I don't think he was actually singing in the original, though. It was him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then we have the three going to New York in 2012.
Which I loved.
Yes.
That opening scene with the Chitauri hanging off the buildings and the circular pan of the Avengers, that was a fuck yeah moment.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, ho, 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 ho.
And then Bruce basically like, oh, this is so beneath me. Throws the motorcycle. Pound on the car. It was so great.
It was just like, oh.
But for him, he goes to get the time stone from Strange, who doesn't have the time stone yet.
Yeah.
Which I love. He didn't take that into account.
To be fair, he doesn't know how long Strange was Sorcerer
he doesn't-
Supreme.
That's
Yeah,
true.
no.
That's true. They
don't
didn't,
know a
they
whole
didn't
lot
really
about
chat.
Yeah. And we find out, like, I love that they brought back Tilda Swinton as Ancient One.
The Ancient One being there was fantastic.
Yeah. And I love the fact that they're, like, giving her stuff to do. Like, well, the Chitauri are just, like, let me just use magic shit and fucking knock these
and her
fuckers
explaining, see, if you go back to the future from this point in 1955.
Yeah, so... Yeah, it's like, if you take the stone, you're going to create an alternate timeline. And that this is that point, like, where I'm just like... While I'm watching it the second time, I was like, oh my god. Him taking that baseball glove started an alternate timeline. Because as insignificant as it may seem, something is now out of place.
Changes the course of a river.
Exactly.
Even if you can't see it, water has moved around it and forged a new path.
So, that's number one. And then Hulk's just like, well, we'll bring it back. Like, I mean, Banner's like, oh, we'll bring it back. Because Banner gets separated from Hulk on an astral level.
I loved that.
Yeah.
The same way Strange got removed from his astral body.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was a nice callback.
Oh, it was. Absolutely. And then there's that moment where it's just like, no, we can't give it to you because then we won't have, like, a way to defend against threats to come. Which, at that time, obviously she's referring to Dormammu.
Yeah.
But
knowing that Dormammu is a lesser threat in this equation.
So, think of it this way. If she doesn't have the time stone to pass to Strange, basically.
Yeah.
Strange cannot beat Dormammu.
No, there is no Dormammu I've come to bargain.
And then Dormammu and the Dark Dimension encompass our reality. And we have mindless ones all over the place. So, while it sounds like a lesser threat, I mean, it's still a pretty big fucking threat.
Compared to what compared to what Thanos was going to do at the end,
well,
where he's just like, well, half isn't enough. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
That is absolutely fair, but
to be also fair, though, they created that situation, but still.
They did. They absolutely did. And I mean, it's just like, oh, well, we'd be giving away our chief weapon of defense. And it's just like, then why did Strange give it to Thanos?
Yeah.
And she's like, what?
Yeah. He did fucking what now?
Yeah. He's the best of us. Like, he must have seen some shit. All right, fine. Here you go.
Yeah.
Just promise to bring it back.
I love how she doesn't even consider he might be lying.
Yeah. Yeah. So Hulk gets...
I get the feeling that there's some way she'd be able to tell, just because she's Sorceress Supreme. She'd like have some way of telling if he was lying or not.
She probably wouldn't have been surprised by the revelation about Strange giving it away then. If she has that level of awareness.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, just like... Because we know from Doctor Strange that she can't see anything further in the future than her own death.
Yes.
So she wouldn't know that, that Strange would give it away. But like, I feel like there's, I mean, just based on, like, I don't know. I just feel like there's a way that she'd be able to tell if he was lying.
So,
like, not because of knowledge of the future, but like, because if only because of the fact that he's like in the astral form, even.
So here's my little thing on that, and this ties back to the Doctor Strange movie, and it ties back to that scene where she says, "I've only ever been able to see up until this moment." Right?
Yeah.
What if the reason why she actually even saw that moment was because she was trying to find that moment where Strange gives up the stone?
Yeah. There is no logical reason why she'd be trying to look ahead if she wasn't trying to find something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is an interesting thought. That had not
thought of that.
me.
So, and she's like, all right, well, here's the stone. Banner gets the time stone. All right, cool. Awesome. Cap has to get the
Cap.
scepter.
And which starts some of the best parts.
We'll get to Cap. Because Cap is too fucking good. While that's going on, like, during that time, Stark and Ant-Man are trying to get the Tesseract.
Which is also hilarious.
Yeah. You know,
where the Tesseract winds up going at the end of that scene too, but we'll get to that in a moment.
Oh yes.
So
Oh.
they end up getting, Ant-Man gets onto past Tony, who has the case with the Tesseract.
And induces a heart attack.
Yeah, and but before that, because the elevator is at maximum occupancy, they make Hulk take the stairs.
Hate stairs.
Yes.
Which are, like I said, every scene he's in. I'm sorry.
I mean, to be fair, that was a great moment.
Yeah.
That scene,
especially the brick joke it sets up.
Yeah. So that scene itself does set up, like, without that little scene, like, the next part, it's like, why the fuck did he just, like, why the fuck did this happen this way? Yeah. It's because they made him take the stairs. Like,
yeah, exactly.
So basically, like, was it S.H.I.E.L.D.? Was like, oh, well, we need the Tesseract. No, it was...
oh, no, that was Hydra at that point.
Well, it was Strike, yeah.
Which was Hydra, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it was... I mean, they were under S.H.I.E.L.D., but they didn't have... Like, they had Hydra colors, but Hydra wasn't out in the light yet, so, I mean...
Well, it was still Hydra hiding within S.H.I.E.L.D.
Which is true. Which is very true.
So that's why I say it was still Hydra they got their hands on at that point.
Fair. But they're just like, oh, well, we got to take this, and blah, 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 and we're going to take Loki, too, and it's like, no.
He goes to Asgard to stand trial.
Yeah, he stands trial in Asgard, and that Tesseract comes with us, like...
And I love how, even though he's clearly outplayed, he's like, well, no, we've got pretty much, jurisdiction here, and not thinking for a moment, Thor's like, you know what, I'm going to leave. Fuck your jurisdiction.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll put up my hammer. Oh, look at that. Bifrost. There we go.
I also love the explanation for why Loki was in the gag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was no logical reason why that had to be.
Yeah.
But they gave one there, which was perfect to fit.
So, like, if Loki had abilities like, what was the fuck her name? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., was it Lorelei?
Yeah, Lorelei, yes.
Yeah. If he had powers...
the Enchantress.
Yeah. If he had powers like her, absolutely.
Makes more sense.
Absolutely.
But there was no reason for that in the first movie other than, we want to keep, him from saying shit to piss people off.
Yeah.
But showing basically how he was mocking made it perfect.
Yeah.
And the perfect reason why Thor goes, you know what? Shut up, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a throwback to Dark World, too.
Yes, exactly, when he was impersonating Cap.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so, I mean, like...
Because, quite obviously, Chris Evans loves doing those scenes.
Yeah. What is it? Then we had, like, Ant-Man giving...
The heart attack.
The heart attack to past Tony Stark.
Past Tony.
And then we had Thor using Mjolnir to kind of restart the
defibrillator. Yeah.
I didn't know it was. I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try something, and he just taps it. And he goes, "Oh,
I have no idea if this is going to work."
Yeah.
In the meanwhile,
and that's where Thor works his comic relief again.
Yeah.
The situation is funny, not him.
Right.
In the meanwhile, Ant-Man's knocked the case over towards modern day Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because past Stark's like dying, or was kind of.
Everybody's attention's on him.
Yeah, everybody's attention's on past Stark. So, future Stark has the briefcase. That door comes busting open, knocking him down because Hulk had to take the fucking stairs.
Yeah, exactly. The case goes flying over.
Tesseract tumbles out,
Yeah.
goes by Loki, and Loki's just like,
fuck this.
yoink,
Out.
bye.
And I would like to see an entire film based upon what he was getting up to with that at that point.
Yeah.
You know what?
Well,
I wouldn't be surprised if the Loki series touches on some of that.
That might, yes, that would be awesome.
Well, and because, I mean, that throws everything for a loop.
Well, that also started another timeline, too.
I was
However,
going to say, yeah, that throws
they
out...
then go back before that, though, and to get the Tesseract earlier than even that later on.
Yeah, but see...
But still, they put it back.
Yeah.
Well, even if they... Okay, so... And we'll get to that, right? Because we got Cap and a Scepter to talk about.
Cap, the awesome part here, yeah.
The part that made me punch the air and say Todd and Balin are... This is the best. This is their part.
I mean...
This part was made for them.
I mean, I was wearing this shirt when I saw the movie the first time, and I got a Hail Hydra concession. So I was just like, Hail Hydra. And then I was in the theaters. This part comes up, and I felt so fucking justified to wear this shirt.
So Cap gets on the elevator with the guys who have the scepter, who are all Hydra.
Yeah,
including
Rumlow.
Jasper Sitwell.
Yeah, and Rumlow. Who's
and he gets on. Rumlow starts like unclipping his gun and everything, and it was a moment where in your mind you're hearing, before we get started, does anyone want to get off? But instead, another nod to the comics, Cap leans in and says quietly, "Hail Hydra," to disarm things. That was a nod to the Captain America series that everyone lost their shit over.
Yeah. To be fair on this one, I absolutely loved what they did.
Oh, I did too.
And I love the fact that, like, once he said that, Jasper Sitwell gives Rumlow the look, and he's just like, all right, here you go.
because at that point in time, there's positively no one outside of the Hydra members could have known about Hydra.
Yeah.
It was not possible. They'd not gone public. So Cap saying that, the only logical conclusion they could come to at the time was that he was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And let's face it, you have a blonde Aryan-looking man.
You do.
Who is effectively what looks like the product of eugenics.
Yeah.
And they're going to believe that was part of Hydra.
Yeah, so Loki's escaped. Cap now has the scepter.
And Loki had made himself look like Cap before, and that's why he got gagged.
Yes.
That's an important part of this.
Yes.
That is a very important part of this.
Because they show Cap, he says, you gotta be shitting me. And I have to say, I really wish, earlier Cap, where they showed you going, language.
Oh, that would have been great.
So in the going back to the beginning, so I watched this movie with my parents last night, and where Cap, when they're going after Thanos, and Cap's like, let's get this son of a bitch, yeah. And my mom is like, Cap swore? And I was just like,
older jaded Cap.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who had seen some shit.
Yeah.
Who lost half a planet that he was trying to protect.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all his friendship with Tony shattered.
Mm-hmm.
By a man he loved like a brother.
Mm-hmm.
That is the Cap that swore.
And he never got to get his dance.
Sure.
And he never got to get that fucking dance with Peggy. And he's pissed about that, too. We know it.
So, but that fight was beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love that they had early Cap wear the mask, because otherwise you weren't going to be able to tell.
Oh yeah, no, it would have been like,
yeah.
I don't.
What I thought was terrific in that scene is, obviously they're fighting and like they have the tumble.
They were perfectly matched.
Yeah, they're perfectly matched. And then there's that little moment of past Cap, I could do this all day, and he goes, "Yeah, I know, I know."
He had it. You could see him thinking, "God, is that what I actually sound like when I say that all the time?"
He was like,
yeah.
Man. Oh, that was no.
Past
Yeah.
Cap
Yeah, I know.
starts choking out our Cap,
Malcolm Cap, yeah.
and our
But he's
Cap,
still alive.
yeah, our Cap goes like, all right, what would cause him to like be completely off guard?
Yeah.
Oh, Bucky's still alive. What? Bucky's still alive, and he lets go, grabs the scepter, hits him in the chest with it,
That was perfect. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great finisher.
and then as he's walking away, that is America's ass.
That was hilarious. Again, Chris Evans is having so much fun with this finale.
Oh
You
yeah.
can just tell.
Then we find out, like, oh, hey, they fucked up with the Tesseract. Yay. Ant-Man, you're going back to the present. You're taking the scepter. Hulk's going back with the Time Stone. We're going to go. We have one charge left, me and Tony. We're going to go into the 1970s to New Jersey. You're going to get the Tesseract.
Is there and Pym
Pym
particles
particles.
are there.
Yo,
Because
Hulk
no
had a
one's
better
ever
idea.
doing
Use
that
Time
before.
Stone, get Pym Particles, and Tesseract. Shut up. Yeah. Sorry.
I mean, to be fair, like, all you had to do really is nab the Time Stone.
I know. And then you're fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to be fair, for the most part, throughout the film, they clearly show that they are actually quite afraid to experiment.
Yes.
The only thing they know that
Yeah.
works is
Yeah.
that's the only thing they know that works. Everything else is going way off the charts for them, and they're quite honestly afraid. It's like, are you kidding? These things are like gods in physical form. If we go experiment with this, we're gonna fuck shit up.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, that's why. But I still thought it was funny that the Time Stone was quite an obvious way to just get around all that. But yeah,
Well, and I mean, like, even
I
if-
was sitting there thinking, I'm like, why don't you just use the Time Stone? But that's because we've seen Doctor Strange use it, so like we as viewers
but he
know
was
that
trained.
it's
yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like, so while that's going on, the Nebula and Rhodey have knocked out Chris Pratt
Yeah.
and gotten the orb. And Rhodey has the orb, and they're about to go back.
Yeah, they
So,
both
okay.
key in their return sequence.
So here's the thing that bothers me the most.
Uh-huh.
That'll come in later. Rhodey sees her reach in to grab the thing and
Yeah.
sees her arm.
Sizzle.
Yeah. So I'm just pointing that out now, and then can go ahead and continue, Todd.
Yeah. No, and I get that. I get that 100%. But with the Power Stone gone now, we have that interesting situation where now her neural net is syncing with her past selves.
Which
Neural
is
net?
actually an interesting plot twist.
Yes.
I didn't see that coming
Yeah.
at all.
I didn't. Yeah, no, that was one I totally did
Yeah.
not expect.
And it allows Thanos to see the memories of future Nebula and see that he did succeed, but
And thus always will succeed.
and thus always will succeed. Yeah. Hence,
Because
he
he's
is inevitable. Yeah. He also sees his own death, too.
Yes.
Which doesn't bother him in the slightest.
No, because he's just like, I did my job. Like, no big
Yeah.
deal.
I did what I planned to do. I had
No matter what you do to me, it won't change things.
Yeah. So he, so they're like, all right, well, we got to get Nebula, blah, 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 that kind of shit. It's like, all right, well, this is weird. I thought that whole sequence is like, it seemed a little contrived, but I did enjoy the fact that they were able, like, oh, well, if two of the same people are in the same thing, and let's just say they're both computer-based, like, their networks are going to mesh. And it's like, all right, well, I can understand that.
It wouldn't have worked with any other character.
No, wouldn't have.
No.
And that's actually, that's what, in my opinion, made it a great plot twist. It was one nobody saw coming, it had a plausible reason for happening, and it made things go off the rails in a new and interesting way.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had Hawkeye and Widow.
And And the Red Skull.
And the Red Skull. So that's an interesting little bit there. So they figure out, like, wait a second. Apparently, Thanos took Gamora to this planet, and only Thanos came back. Like,
This is just now occurring to us.
yeah. Well, and
People-
Clint's just like, all right, well, you know what's got to happen. All right, bye. He has nothing to live for. He has
Neither
nothing.
does Nat. And that's what made this such the perfect situation. And that's why I say they were set up.
So, okay, for
And
Clint has nothing to live for. The only person he cares about right now is Nat. For Nat, on the other hand, like, yeah, she cares about him a lot, but there's still red in her ledger.
But he's still the only person she cares that much about.
I know. But the way I see it is, she cares a lot, and don't get me wrong, but her doing this would have taken care of that blemish as well. You know?
Yeah.
Meh.
sorry.
But yeah, so, like,
Don't worry, it's just Laura.
God. I fucking ugly cried there too. So don't, you son of a bitch.
We'll be getting to that, though. Ray just got it.
Hello. But yeah, so I mean, they had a pretty good fight. The two of them.
Oh yeah.
You've never seen two people fight over who gets committed suicide so hard.
I mean, when you say it that way, like,
That's the point.
No, I'm going to kill myself. No, I'm going to kill myself so you don't
my
have
dead
to. And ultimately, like, yeah, so Black Widow takes the plunge.
Yep.
And they show the body, which is
Yeah.
important.
Yep.
It's super important. They show the body, and then we have Hawkeye, like, in water, like, out of nowhere, because things.
That's how this whole world works.
Yeah,
yeah.
and he's got the gem, the stone in his
Yeah.
hand. Is the old comic book fan in me, like, showing, like, when I go and say
No,
gem?
yeah, I know. You want to be the Infinity Gems.
Yeah, I do.
I'm still a little annoyed they swapped the colors around.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so they did that, and they're ready to go. Rockets poked Jane.
And extracted a bunch of red liquid, which is what happens when you stick a needle in someone.
Yeah. Hopefully it's the Aether. So now they got that. Like, everybody's going back except for
Everywhere they can.
everybody but Cap and Tony
And and Widow.
and Nebula. Yeah.
Yeah, and the correct Nebula.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because Nebula does go back.
Yeah, except for its 2013 Nebula.
Yeah.
And
Well-
this is where it bugs me because she goes back.
No, it's 2014 Nebula. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either way, she goes to present day.
Uh huh.
The hand, her hand was fine. Like, she had stolen the gold strip thingy.
To be honest, Rhodey knows there was another Nebula there that could have switched places with her.
Still, though, I mean, you
And
think it would be
what-
like, what happened to your hand?
And as far as he knows, maybe going back to the present restores you to how you are in the present.
Which is possible. But also, she was also wearing a glove.
Yeah. The suit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if they share any scenes beyond that. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he didn't say, "Oh, by the way, her hand got all weird."
Yeah.
So
Well, no, but like I would
Yeah, well, I'm
sit there and be
saying-
like, I
I thought
which is
you.
what I'm saying.
I thought
I'm saying yeah, I'm not sure he saw the exposed hand at all.
Yeah.
but no, he would have when they first got back because she
When they're
I
all
mean,
wearing
he
the
would've-
white suits. That covers their entire body?
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. I did forget about that.
Yeah.
So it's entirely possible he leaves the room, then she unsuits,
Yeah.
and they go about their day.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Plus, those suits were nanoparticles too. So,
Mhm.
so even if like she was wearing the suit that gets burned away, it's nanites. It'll
Yeah.
reform. You know, like her hand won't, but like the covering would. I thought you were going to go
he
into.
knew.
I thought you were going to go into another like I don't understand how this worked moment, but
Hell, to be perfectly honest, for all he knows, she could have repurposed the nanoparticles to rebuild her hand.
true.
It's cybernetic.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's for all he
I
knows.
forgot about the suit. I
Yeah.
definitely forgot about the suit.
No problem. It was
I'm
a
like-
3-hour movie, and there's a lot to unpack.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm trying to help you guys.
Yep.
Because prior to this, we really like. I mean, there was like small little things, but like nothing in depth. We talked about.
Yeah.
I deliberately avoided talking about this with anyone so I could get it all out like this.
Yes. So Cap and Tony now go into the 1970s. We have our Stan Lee cameo of Stan Lee as himself, looking like he did in the 1970s, driving a Buick, I think. Something? I don't know.
Car.
With a bumper kit sticker that says "Nuff said."
Yeah, enough said.
That was fantastic. And how appropriate is it that Stanley's final cameo is in Avengers Endgame?
Yeah. How appropriate is it that Stan Lee's last two cameos, he was cameoing as himself?
I know. Mm-hmm.
So when I saw the cameo at first, like the first time I saw it, like I'm looking at it, I'm like, is that fucking Mark Maron?
I know, right? I'm like, is he going to be, pulling over and letting Allison Brie into the car?
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it was just like, oh, really? Like, oh, they got Mark Maron for this. This is cool. Like, where's? I'm like, wait a second. No, that's Stan Lee. Oh shit.
Yeah, exactly. They digitally DH Stan.
Yeah.
Which is nice in that it lets us remember him as young and vital.
Which also means that if we ever need to cast somebody as a stand-in and we can't get Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool,
Yeah.
we can get Mark Maron. Fair. But yeah, so they go to get the PIM particles. They go to because they used the last of what they had to go to the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to get PIM particles and they had to get the Tesseract.
Oh, but the scene with the PIM particles.
Yeah, so there's a scene with the PIM particles. So Cap's going to get that. They name drop somebody pretty big in that scene. And unless you had a captioning device in the theater, you most likely missed it.
I might have, for one.
Braddock.
Braddock? As in Bryant?
As in Captain Britain. Braddock.
Hmm.
Yes. Or, I mean, maybe his sister. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean,
but
however, Brian was an Avenger. Betsy was not.
yeah, understandable. Betsy was a stripper ninja.
But before that, she was a superhero.
Yes, she was. But yeah, so Braddock. So there's a chance it might have just been like a throwaway line, but over the last like 5 years, Kevin Feige's like been like he's always said things along the lines of like we wanted like we want to do Captain Britain. We want to bring a Captain Britain thing, you know.
I would love to see a Captain Britain movie. It'd be weird
Yeah.
as fuck, most likely, because it'd have heavy Arthurian overtones, but it'd be an interesting movie.
Well, and that's fair.
Ooh, I'm interested.
Well,
I mean, his powers were given to him by Merlin.
yeah. Also, there was talk for Phase 4 Black Knight. So,
Ooh, Dane Whitman.
yeah.
Hopefully.
So, that being the case, I mean, you get the two of them. I mean, I think that's a good Earth-based.
And then you bring in mutants, and all of a sudden Excalibur doesn't look so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it doesn't look crazy until you remember some of their villains include things like the Technarch and everything. I mean, God damn, they had some crazy-ass villains.
Yeah. But yeah, so Braddock gets name dropped, and they just and it's Peggy that said, like, she's going over the thing.
Which, if it's Peggy that says it, that's definitely leaning more toward Captain Britain.
Exactly.
But then Cap sees Peggy through the window.
Yeah, and it's just,
And that chipped away at me a little bit more.
yep. I shed a few tears there. But he gets pin
I did
particles.
the thing that I just did with the.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though the Tony and Howard Stark thing.
Oh, God.
Oh gosh, that killed me.
I was in tears there as well. So it may have carried over. You know, one may have affected the other. Who knows?
The whole 70s bit, though, was just pure, two people seeing aspects of their past that shaped them.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, it was nice in that it brought Tony and Steve back together,
It did.
Yeah.
which needed to happen.
Yeah, it brought
They were
Tony.
like brothers.
It brought them back together. Once again, much like Thor, it allowed Stark to get some closure.
Yeah.
Right. But not Cap, which is interesting until later,
Yeah. I mean,
which we'll talk about when we get there, of course. But yes.
yeah, exactly.
For Cap, it just was another knife in his side.
Yeah. So they get the Tesseract, you know, the whole nine, right? They make it back. We are 2 hours and 7 minutes in, so we have about an hour to wrap this up. Much like
That's not going to happen. Like, go on.
much like Endgame itself. Like we're aiming for the 3 hour mark.
Yeah. Hitting the third act of the movie, honestly.
Yeah.
So.
Which is funny, like that's like pacing like
Where
hour
everything
one
starts to happen.
hour one like was just like all the first act shit. Hour
Yeah.
2 was all the second act shit. Hour 3, like,
So now all of the gems are in the present,
yes, all the gems are in the present.
which is where shit starts to really go sideways.
Yes. So I have a feeling Ray would take issue with this. You might as well, Ballin. But one question that's been asked to me by people that have seen the movie is, if they only had one particle for Nebula to come back, how was Thanos able to bring his entire
Yes!
army?
Yeah, no, that bugged me. I wanted to know where the pin particles for that were.
So, a little, Ballin, do you have any idea, or do you want to?
Well, first of all, we're pretty damned aware he didn't do it through pin particles at all.
Are you sure?
No, I have to say I'm not sure.
Okay.
Well, he didn't do it through acquiring them from Earth.
Yeah. Okay. So,
However,
my theory on this, right, and it's,
I mean, he's got an army, and some of them have to have scientists.
also Emily
And-
Maw.
Yeah.
And I mean, Thanos himself was
Yeah.
quite a brilliant person.
So it is entirely possible they cracked the pin particle themselves.
Yeah. Reverse engineered it. And at the same time, I mean, that's the explainer that's been given, basically.
Mhm.
And also reverse engineer, of course, the GPS.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And
which, let's face it, they had 5 years to work, plus to work on it.
Mm-hmm.
They had all the time in the world to work on it and just sit there and wait.
Yeah, and then just zip to where they needed to go.
Yeah.
They didn't have to go and collect stones or anything like that. Now, this...
Time travel's funny that way. It always brings you to now.
Yeah. It's interesting. So... And their actions fuck the timeline more
Yeah.
than, like, anything else.
Oh, yeah.
Because...
If the baseball glove was a pebble in the river, they dropped a boulder.
Yeah, exactly.
That much mass being transmitted through the timelines.
Yeah, so... 2014 Nebula brings in... and you said it was 5 years. It's, at this point...
Well, 5 years till he catches up with where he's supposed to go to Earth with the gauntlet.
Oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Where he catches up with where he's supposed to be.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. But if he had this knowledge, he wouldn't, at that point, have Ronan try to get the orb. He wouldn't have, do this to try to do that. I mean, the Loki thing would have happened anyway. Because
honestly, someone who's a chess master on Thanos' level would probably still keep all the original balls in the air just in case.
Well, the thing is that do they truly know which balls were played?
I mean, I would do it just to make sure that I won one way or another.
I mean, they have Nebula, present-day Nebula, and her memory banks.
All unfolding.
I didn't understand what you just said there, Balin. What?
Present-day Nebula, who knows how it all unfolded the first time into 2019 and beyond. So,
but she only knows part of it.
Well, I mean, she's gotten a good deal of it though through even just. I mean, you would assume, I guess, that just from others talking about things, like as they're trying to, even as they were trying to figure out where the stones were and everything,
and also his plans to get stones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So extrapolate from both of those sources, and you can probably piece together fairly well, especially for someone who knows Thanos as well as Nebula does.
Fair. Okay. I'll give you that. But yeah, I mean, it's just...
Either way, she was a major spanner in the works.
Yeah. But yeah, so we have past Nebula bringing past Thanos and his army, and they fuck up that compound that we've been seeing a lot of those first two acts.
Yeah.
They fucked that shit up.
And they introduce a nod to the original Secret Wars comic from the 80s, with Hulk holding up the entirety of the rubble.
Nice.
As he did the mountain, basically was dropped on them.
Yeah.
So, one thing that bothered me, and people are trying to tell, like, people try to say, oh, well, maybe it's, like, alright. Rhodey. His suit is damaged. He has to canopy out of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, that suit is not fucking nanoparticles.
Yeah.
Where the fuck did he get the other suit from?
It was an Iron Patriot suit.
You
could see it was red, white, and blue.
I get that. I get that. But where did it come from?
He called it in. The same way Tony does when he needs an armor.
But they were underground.
I don't think Tony uses Wi-Fi.
No, I understand that. I do. But I'm just saying, like, for him to, like, I understand calling it in.
Yeah.
But then...
You're saying, how did it get to him?
Yeah, exactly. Like...
Probably punched through whatever had to punch through. Those armors are fairly tough. It's just the one that he was in was screwed up because it was crushed.
Oh yeah, no, and I get that. I do get that. However, I will say,
it would have been nice to see it happen, but yeah.
I mean, it's much like the Professor Hulk moment.
Yeah.
In my opinion. But I mean, there's that. Like Ant-Man, like. So if it had to punch through stuff, like obviously, like Ant-Man, it didn't punch through Ant-Man. Like
no. And him, of course, going Giant Man there to save them was gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, and that was great.
And not to mention, then just continue being Giant Man all over the battlefield.
Yup.
He must have needed a whole truck full of orange slices.
Then we had.
Later, yeah.
We got and Thanos is just like sitting down, like just he's just chilling, like just get me a gauntlet, blah blah blah,
And then the Trinity comes out.
Yeah, and then we have Tony, Cap, and Thor.
Yeah.
And Thor is just like
beyond pissed.
Yeah, and the skies start darkening and shit, and I'm like,
and he pretty much brings down all the lightning on the planet at once in the end.
And I was like, oh my god. And it braids his beard.
Yeah. I thought that was great.
Braids his beard. He's got Stormbreaker and Mjolnir.
A whole lot better.
And
I liked the braided beard look.
Yeah.
It was very...
And I was just...
And then the hair kind of pulled back into a half knot. It was very Norse, and it made me happy.
The only thing that I would have preferred is if he had the eye patch.
That's fair.
I think it's entirely possible that could have actually restored his eye.
Fair.
They were both lit up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. But I mean...
Having effectively two Mjolnirs with him. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, him, like... But to see him as King Thor with the eye patch...
Would have been nice, yes.
Yeah, and oh man. But that was one of those moments, I'm sitting there, I just start shaking in my seat a little bit, and like happy tears coming down, and I'm like, I never thought I was going to see this shit. Never.
Thor, light me up.
Yeah. Oh, God.
That moment where basically he has an armor designed to channel all the electricity into the pulse.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's clear this is like one of those things Tony's been putting some work into thinking about.
Yup.
How to combine the Avengers synergies. And this brings me to the moment I was talking about where the audience cheered. When you see Mjolnir fly past Thanos and land in Cap's hand.
Yup.
Like, that was basically what I was doing in the theater.
Fun fact, they have revealed that Cap knew he was able to lift Mjolnir at the party and didn't so as not to hurt Thor's feeling.
Yep.
And I loved Thor saying, I knew it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yes.
And then they just proceed to double team from different directions with hammers throughout the fight.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I will say,
so beautiful. That was like my favorite part of the movie.
I mean, just the Cap like fighting.
Yeah, just him fighting with using the shield and the.
Yeah, he tosses.
When he started spinning the hammer, I thought he was going to throw it up and fly.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
I thought he was going to do the comic thing.
Cool. It would have been beautiful.
But yeah, him throwing the hammer, throwing the shield, and then throwing the hammer at the shield so it ricochets off. I was like, oh, that's fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Bounce power, my sir.
Ultimate bounce power.
It just goes to show, though, that Cap is 100% in the moment of the battle at every moment.
Yeah.
He's constantly thinking of new ways, new tactics, new stratagems.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And I mean, so there's that. I was just like, holy shit! Like, it was one of those moments where, like, I'm just like, I'm like, all right, Russos, you've hurt me so much this film. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
And and it was honestly like between King Thor and Iron Man getting powered up by Thor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Cap with Mjolnir.
I mean, it was such comic book fan service.
It was.
Gosh,
Another
it was so beautiful.
another thing, and this is something I've pointed out to a bunch of people because they're like, okay, so he can lift the hammer, but why does he have lightning powers now? And I go, have you seen Thor 1? And they go,
Right.
Why? And I'm like, because Odin, when he does his little ASMR into Mjolnir before he hurls it through the Bifrost to what was it, Utah? Says, he who is worthy shall have the powers of Thor. Mm-hmm. And in Thor Ragnarok, whether you like the movie or not, sorry, Ballin, it is revealed that Mjolnir was just meant to channel Thor's powers. It wasn't actually what gave him his powers. So by wielding that hammer, you now have the you have the powers of Thor. At least while you have the hammer, you know?
The exact wording.
Yes.
Whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
Yep.
That's exact wording.
Yep.
By holding the hammer, he wielded the power of Thor.
Yep.
It never says, by the way, shall take the power from Thor.
No.
By the way.
No.
He still had his power.
Yep.
Right.
Though though it wasn't until Ragnarok that he realized that he didn't need the hammer to use his power. So
it was a force multiplier.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, it's just, and Cap knew how to use that fucking lightning though. Like that was,
I know.
And I was just like, I'm like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
Like, I love he just brings the hammer up to the sky and and pulls it down and the lightning strikes. I'm like, fuck, man.
Like, before Endgame, one of my favorite fight scenes is the Civil War fight scene on the airport.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is now totally the big three versus Thanos.
Oh, yeah.
I still am going to go Elevator Winter Soldier.
That's fair. That's a great scene.
That's just, I mean, does anybody want to get off?
Yeah. Answer the audience.
I mean, that's a good scene, yes. But, like, as far as, like, fight battle scenes, like, the blowaway, I guess, for me.
Well, and that...
Like, that's, I love that elevator scene, but that just, it doesn't carry the same weight that the airport scene from Civil War and this scene, like,
so,
just kind of...
But at the same time, like, from me... if you'd watch, if you like, now you can watch those my ranking videos.
Yeah.
Because
I'm going to be doing.
Because you guys have seen all the films.
Yes.
Like, Endgame's in that last video. It's in my top 3.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It does not have the number 1 spot though. Winter Soldier has that number 1 spot. It's
For me, this is actually my favorite MCU movie, and maybe my favorite movie.
Fair.
I can definitely see that.
This is my Lord of the Rings.
So
it is the most epic movie I've ever seen.
So I mean, I rank this a lot higher than Infinity War by a long shot. Yeah. Infinity War, in my opinion, had way too much action and not enough story.
Fair.
I can see that.
This movie, by the time, like, yeah, we got a little sequence at the beginning, and we have, like, the battle in New York happening, but, like, we're on the outside of that. Like, that set piece is happening, but you know what? We're over here. Like, we're focusing on the shit here, doing story stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing character
not to drive the story, but as a background filler for this
exactly. And I appreciated that so much.
That was more the fan service.
Yeah. I mean, this film had more story and character development than we've gotten out of the last 3 Avengers films. And by that, I also include, by the last 3 Avengers films, I mean, Infinity War, Civil War, and Age of Ultron.
I mean, the fact, not to drive the story, but as a background filler for this.
Yeah. I mean, the last 3 Avengers films, I mean, Infinity War, Civil War, and Age of Ultron.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
fair. Civil War was an Avengers film.
Yeah.
Fair.
It really was. They
Yeah.
called it Captain America, but it was absolutely a Avengers film.
But and then there's the fact that ultimately, as awesome as it is watching these three wail on Thanos, it doesn't help.
no.
And then comes the transmission. You Cap on your left.
Which the first time I didn't catch, and then the second time I was like, oh, them sons of bitches.
Yeah, a
Um,
great callback.
yeah, absolutely. To Winter Soldier. I mean, like,
Yeah.
actually, so I saw the movie on that Thursday. I got back and I'm just like, how does this rank? How does this stand up against Winter Soldier, in my opinion? So I watched Winter Soldier and it was like that on your left, and I'm like, oh, those fucking assholes.
Yeah,
Like, it hit me then, and then the second time, like, I'm like, before I watched the movie, I'm like, oh, this, maybe I was just hearing things, and then it's just like on your left, and I'm like, oh, those motherfuckers. So it is,
And then
yeah,
then the portal opens,
yes.
and then
Yes.
thousands of portals open.
Okay, so in my first screening,
Mm-hmm.
when the portals start opening, everybody went apeshit.
Yeah, everybody went ape shit.
Everybody was just like, oh my god, like this, I mean, this is amazing. And you know what? That was a very lively crowd. They were respectful, but they were lively. And I respect what they respect what they did during the film. The second theater that I saw it in. Remember how I mentioned it was like a fucking funeral
Yeah.
parlor in there
Mm-hmm.
until Black Panther walked out.
Yeah.
Not the first portal. No. When Black Panther walked through the portal,
Yeah,
the whole crowd went like, not the whole crowd, but a majority of them went crazy.
Mhm.
And then as you saw the other characters from the other portals, they booed. When Peter Parker comes out, who in the first theater got the loudest reaction
Yeah.
because he has that hero shot, you know?
yeah.
They booed the entire time and said, get this white boy off our screen. This is why I'm never going to that theater ever the fuck again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's that. It's just like, but it was the whole, we get the whole thing with, the portals opening up.
Yep.
And that's another, I start shaking and I'm like, oh my God, it's happening.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
happening.
exactly. And
And-
everybody starts going, Man Ape was in the freaking scene.
Yeah. Howard the
Oh my-
Duck was in the
Yes.
scene.
Yes.
Like, they brought everyone.
It would have been a good time to throw in a one freeze frame bonus shot of Deadpool. But they didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was like, but there was way too much going on.
Yeah.
While this is happening,
Yeah.
they've Hawkeye's been trying to play keep away with the gauntlet.
And
Mhm.
it's a multiplayer game.
Yes, because now Spider-Man's there. And then of course there's the whole like moment which I guarantee Ray cried during because I cried during. And I'm not a Spider-Man fan. I will openly say that. I'm not a Spider-Man fan.
When he gets mobbed.
No, when
Oh, when he and
Tony,
Tony-
yeah. And it's
Okay,
just
the hot, yeah.
yeah. It's just like all of a sudden, like I must have passed out or something, and then Doctor Strange is like, "Hey, it's been 5 years. We gotta go."
Yeah.
He made the sparkly thing. Just
Yeah. And because remember the line from Homecoming, we're not there yet.
yeah,
Yeah.
When
He
he tries to
just-
hug Tony.
yeah.
And Tony
Because-
just hugs him.
Yeah. But
Well, and with Tony, like one of his threads the entire movie was, "I lost the kid,"
Yeah.
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
And it's
It was
just
his biggest failure, his
Yeah.
personal failure.
yeah,
Because losing 3+ billion people wasn't all on him.
yeah,
But losing Peter, who he personally groomed,
yeah.
was.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And who Peter saw as a father figure because he lost his Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
Which admittedly
Yep.
didn't come up in the movie, but anyone who knows Peter knows that.
and Stark saved Peter back in Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, there was that moment, and it was such a powerful moment. It was such a powerful moment. But then we had, we have everybody trying to play keep away now, like with the gauntlet.
Mm-hmm. And the heroes that get more and more interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Until finally, after Spidey, after Panther and everything, you finally get down to Wanda.
Oh God.
I don't know who you are. You will.
You took something very important away from me,
Yeah.
and I was just like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
So since
And
Civil War, we had like they basically because Wanda was one of those characters that we realized like she is way too powerful for the MCU.
yeah,
we made a
Captain Marvel before they came up with
huge
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, we made a huge mistake bringing her in. Like, so what are we gonna do? Let's give her like this driving guilt that makes her restrain herself.
Mhm.
Which was her blowing
Destroying that building.
destroying the building with the Wakandan scientists in it while
Yeah.
she's trying to contain Crossbones or Rumlow from exploding.
But
that-
now there's no reason to hold back.
But they're weighs down on her so much. And now that she lost the only person she cared about. And for her, it's only minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And she is pissed.
Mm-hmm.
And she scares the shit out of Thanos so much, he calls
Yeah.
for bombardment.
Yeah, he's just like,
Yep.
fucking, let's rain it down. And they're like, but we'll kill our own troops. He goes, I don't care. Just
Yeah.
Right.
She is trying to rip me apart. She is undoing my armor. This is not fun.
And so the bolts come raining down, and then suddenly they redirect.
Yep.
And everyone's like, what the hell? Is there a fleet coming in? Nope.
No, it's Carol. Hi, Carol.
Yep. And
Yeah,
she
thanks.
just...
Deus Ex Marvel.
It was still, though, an amazing scene where she just comes
It
blazing
was
through
so beautiful.
and rips through the shit.
So
Those 3 words were exactly what pops into my head, though. I was like, oh, Deus Ex.
Yeah.
So this is me just kind of. I felt that like it was a fucking great shot, everything like that. Like I feel though that if they hadn't done something super similar in the Captain Marvel movie,
Yeah.
it would have been more powerful.
The thing is, though, they had to do something similar, or it was going to be another 20 minutes to a half hour of movie.
No, and I get that, but what I'm saying is,
She had to strip some assets off the field.
well, no, and I get that. I'm not saying like don't do that shot.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is they shouldn't have used that shot in Captain Marvel.
I agree, yeah.
Like,
although it's where she learned she could do it, in my opinion. That's where that comes from. Which is why I think she's going to try something similar in Captain Marvel 2 and find out she's no longer capable.
Fair.
And it'll be a moment where basically personal character growth. Okay, I don't have all this power. I'm too afraid to go into battle. Wait, this is my responsibility. I have to go into battle. And that's where she becomes a hero instead of a weapon.
Well, and I mean, this is
My prediction.
and that's until they decide to write it where Captain Marvel is the living embodiment of the Space Stone, and Wanda is the living embodiment of the Mind Stone. Because they were given their powers by those stones. So,
Yeah.
and if I'm
Well,
not
let's face it, Strange is pretty much the living embodiment of the Time Stone.
yeah, you're not wrong. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know, like
But yeah, it could have been executed with more subtlety.
yeah. No,
But
I mean, like for her coming back, like you needed a big moment.
yeah,
And and as I said, I'm fine with the way it happened. I just feel that it was slightly cheapened by the fact that it was
yeah.
essentially the same thing that happened in the Captain Marvel movie.
And I still say though that fight between her and Thanos was shades of Superman and Darkseid, and that is a showdown because Thanos is Marvel's Darkseid.
Yeah.
So that fight was one that comic lovers want to see.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just...
And again, her no selling the headbutt.
Yeah, that headbutt.
That was a beautiful moment.
So, but that came after one of my... Didn't that come after, like, one of my favorite parts? Or is that before one of my favorite parts?
What? That came before.
Because then Thanos is basically... are you talking about...
Women of Power?
So one of my favorite...
I'm Peter Parker, hi, I'm Carrie. You have something for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically where she's playing keep away with the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's... Yeah, and then he's like, how are you going to get through all of them? And then it's like... Okoye comes out, oh, she has help, and it's like literally all the women, and I'm just like, yeah!
What you mean is literally A-Force.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was based off of, the comic A-Force.
That's great. I don't know comics.
I'm telling you that.
Yeah, we're educating.
A-Force. Yes, exactly. A-Force was a comic event in Marvel where basically during the Battle World Secret Wars, they were basically patchworks of all different kinds of worlds worked together. Pretty much every heroine they could think of, they cobbled together into a team called A-Force, where the A was the Avengers A. Led by She-Hulk, had on a Dazzler, Medusa, the Inhumans, etc. But it was basically a team made up of all women, and that's what that was a nod to.
Yes.
Gotcha.
The women of power moment.
Yes.
Was just, I mean, that was such a powerful moment because I mean,
mostly because Marvel's showing you their diversity too.
Yeah.
They had all these women. There were a lot of them, more than I think I even realized existed in Marvel until that moment.
Yeah, I mean, you had Nebula and Gamora, and you had Mantis, like
Witch.
Yeah, I mean, I was just like, oh shit, like, yeah, Scarlet Witch,
Shuri,
Okoye,
Shuri, my one true Disney princess.
I mean, it's just oh man, the only one that wasn't there was Widow.
Yep.
I wonder how she missed that invitation.
To be fair, she would have been fairly useless there.
I mean, you're not necessarily. She could have like been a tactician, and be like, let's attack this way. Believe me, I know how this shit works.
I mean, if Wanda's basically living embodiment of the Mind Stone, she could have actually had them all like side link up with Widow directing.
Yeah,
that would have been an interesting moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just coming out of the movie, I mean, I was like, up until this point, I was just like, oh my god, like this has been great. This is an amazing time. You know, I'm loving this version of Thor. You know, because it's funny because I would say, like I had said, because I, previously, there'd been rumors like, oh, they're going to do a Thor 4. And I was just like, I mean, the only place they have to really go with him is like King Thor. And like Rune King Thor. Like, that's like the only place you have to go from there.
But,
I was wrong.
So meanwhile, while all of this is going on, Tony steals a glance at Strange. Strange holds up a single finger as if to say, this is the one.
Yeah, we forgot the little moment where Strange explained, like, he goes, so how do we do this? And he goes, if I tell you, it's not going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, though, big fight where everybody's scrambling over all over Thanos trying to prevent him from getting the gauntlet. including Tony. Thanos finally gets the gauntlet, puts it on, and nothing happens. And then you look over and Tony, the gems are assembling on his gauntlet.
Yep.
Speaking of the word assemble, the
Yeah.
part that on your left,
Yeah, where Cap
and
uses
Cap
assemble. Yeah, Avengers, assemble. It
And
finally
it's
fucking happened.
everybody.
That's another scene where everyone cheered
Yeah.
and applauded.
So, to be fair, in the first screening, it was, I mean, there wasn't like it started. They started applauding there. They had been applauding since that first portal opened up. So like all the way through to that, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah, another scene of applause, of course, was when Spidey came out, much like in your first theater. But
Yeah. I mean, but then again, it was just like, as I said, like the applause the applause was happening. That hero shot happened. Like Spidey comes through, the hero shot happens, and they just got louder. Like that's just, and I'm fine with this. Like,
but but basically though, Tony's got the gems, and Thanos can only watch as Tony, and then the dust starts to flow.
Yeah.
And Thanos is looking all around at everything that he has assembled falling to dust.
And he looks over at Cap at one point, and I was expecting him to go, "Captain Rogers, I'm not feeling too good."
Yeah. And then finally,
still too soon, dude. Still too soon.
Is it?
And then finally, Thanos starts to crumble, and that is where someone in the theater went, "Fuck yes!"
Yeah. So,
well, I was sitting there. I was like, "Oh man, is Tony just gonna make him live with?"
That's what I actually kind of wanted. The comic nerd in me wanted a whole thing of he's locked under basically so much. But then I thought, okay, he is way too powerful even without the stones. They can't do that.
True. But I mean, I do think that Tony intentionally
let him until last.
The last one.
So,
although
I mean, like, I'm in the school of thought of like, you lock him in.
Lock him up on an asteroid with life support only.
I mean, the mirror dimension.
So, okay, and that is one thing that bugs me so much about every movie with Doctor Strange in it, outside of Doctor Strange. He never once uses the mirror dimension.
That you see.
Yeah.
We're looking at it all from everybody else's perspective, not his.
Hold on. Not true, because he used it technically in Infinity War.
Yeah.
He used it in Infinity War against Thanos. Thanos throws something at him, and then you see the shimmer of like the mirror world like pushing back against it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, why the heck didn't he just close Thanos?
I still love going back a bit to the bombardment.
Crap out of me.
All the energy shields thrown up by the various mages.
Yes.
Was actually
that was really cool.
One thing that you do have to think about is Strange saw every possible scenario.
Yeah. He's going down an exact route, ticking every box.
Yes.
So if the mirror dimension isn't used in that, he's not going to use it because it could throw things off.
Exactly.
I mean, I get that, but I'm also I just feel like it played such an important part in the Doctor Strange movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then outside of apparently this one little thing where he blocks something from hitting him, you don't see it anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's just kind of like
we're also not dealing with mages at that point either, you know?
I mean, basically, the in Spider-Man Homecoming, the AI in Peter's suit actually plays a huge role, but you don't hear much from it during these movies either.
Yeah.
Because it's not
you have
about
the
them.
instant kill mode. I mean, he at least uses it.
Yeah.
He uses instant kill mode.
AKA the Iron Spider.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you kind of hear a little bit from the AI when he goes up into the I mean, I'm not expecting them to like have this whole huge scene or whatever in the mirror dimension. I'm just like lock some of his bad guys in there to get rid of them, to take down the forces or something. Like, come on.
But so back to the actual movie, though. The good guys have won.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now they've got to send the stones back. So they send Cap with the stone.
With Mjolnir.
Yeah, with Mjolnir. Now here's what cracks me up. Okay, so he has to return the Time Stone, the Power Stone, and everything. He had to return the Soul Stone.
Yeah. The awkward.
He had to hand it back to Red Skull.
The awkwardness of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes
Welcome
back.
back, Herr Rogers.
Hey, Rogers. What are you doing here? I thought I never had to see you again. Yeah, I'm here to return this. I don't have a receipt or anything like that, but and it's Red Skull is like the shittiest customer service guy you've ever met. Well, if you have no receipts, we cannot take it back.
Yeah.
I could give you store credit. Like just.
It's like I just thought about that immediately. He had to take it back to Red Skull.
Yep.
How fucked up is that?
Yep. Oh, it's terrific.
And then, at a point in time, he doesn't come back.
Yeah.
And they look over, and he's Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Sitting on a bench.
Mm-hmm.
Old Man Rogers.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Who has retconned away the entirety of Agent Carter. There is no way with her happily ever after that she worked for the OSS. Those two
Okay, but see, here's where I'm wondering. What if he just did it in 1970, where she was already director of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Mm-mm. No.
They show them both young.
Yeah, they show them both young, and she was aged at that point. I mean,
Yeah.
she wasn't like old, but she was.
But firmly middle-aged.
Yeah.
And they showed young Peggy.
Yeah.
Like 1940s Peggy.
So.
We went back for that dance, like he said.
Yeah, he went back for that dance, which I mean,
Gotcha.
I fucking ugly cried because I was just like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, you deserve it, man. You fucking deserve that shit.
I am a little annoyed they got rid of one of the best MCU shows, but okay.
So, did they though? So, what? Agent Carter, what year? Like, what years does that take place?
Well, it's after World War II.
Yes, I that I know.
Let's see.
You're just going to be quicker about it than I am on searching. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. If you want something searched, you ask.
Yes.
Okay, that's not the. Let's see.
Because we also had Madame Mask as well.
Yeah. It says the atomic age, so I'm going to say the 50s.
Okay.
And at that point, Cap would definitely have been in her life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, what is it? Based on the vehicle out in front, I was thinking like mid-50s. So.
No, according to Wikipedia, 1940s.
Hmm. Yeah,
First, 1946.
40. It's right after the war.
But that would also be Cap in her life at that point, because I'll guarantee you he didn't wait until after. He went back as soon as he could.
True.
But it could be that it was after her time in the OSS.
Yes.
After all, it was only 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So let's figure 2 years. Maybe he went back in 1950.
Maybe.
She would still be about that young.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it would also give her time to kind of come to terms as well. Because, I mean, in season 1 of Peggy Carter, or Agent Carter, she was rough. She was in a rough spot. I mean, now,
And then,
oh, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, and then you get an interesting situation where Steve Rogers, an old man, watches as Captain America makes his debut in the modern age.
Yeah.
How weird does it have to be to see your recent history, well, not recent for him at that point, but to see basically the modern history of Cap, knowing that everything you are about to do.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't Sharon Carter also in the MCU as Agent 13?
Yes.
And was she the daughter of Peggy?
I think actually niece.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, if she was the daughter of him, of Agent
Well, that
Carter.
makes it a whole weird Back to the Future reference in and of itself.
Well, you're not wrong, but it also explains why she helped him as much as she did.
Yeah. And
didn't explain shit about why she was helping him either.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, though, that could still work with niece.
Yeah. No, understandable.
Yeah. So
and I'm pretty sure that she stated in Civil War that Peggy Carter was her aunt.
Yeah.
But
I'm pretty sure she called her Aunt Peggy.
Yeah, but like in the comics, it's daughter, right?
Actually, no, niece in the comics.
Okay.
So you have Tony dead and Cap's an old man, so they're written out. But before he gets written out, he passes the shield officially to Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which surprised me.
Does it though?
I expected actually he would have just said something along the lines of well, somebody needs to carry the shield, and both Sam and Bucky try and figure out who would be best for it.
So
with both of them insisting the other is a better fit.
Well, okay. So here's the problem. Bucky's still dealing with the whole needing to be deprogrammed thing because he's still susceptible to mind control.
Yeah, there is that. So,
Sam, on the other hand, does have the same values of duty.
Yeah.
That Cap had. So,
but and then you get the funeral. Which, by the way, interesting factoid, was shot in 2D instead of 3D.
Yeah.
Basically,
so
they did.
I'm just wondering, did I phase out or something when we were talking about Tony dying, or did we skip over that?
We kind of brushed over it, but
yeah, no, it's like we don't want to get into all the feels.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was where I broke
down. I just want to be sure because I was like,
no,
because that was like,
to go back.
By the way, Pepper in the rescue suit.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yes, Pepper in the rescue suit was amazing.
Yep.
Just that was a long time coming.
Yes, it was.
They hinted at it in Iron Man 3.
Yes, and us Marvel Heroes fans.
Yes.
Have been waiting for this moment for God knows how long.
Yes.
Yep. Us Marvel fans have been waiting for this for so long.
But there were a lot of feels involved with Peter and Pepper and Tony. So I will tell you another part in which I felt myself almost cry.
Yeah.
During the funeral.
Oh no.
The conversation between Happy and Morgan.
Oh fuck you!
God. I was sobbing.
Your dad liked cheeseburgers too. I'll get you all the cheeseburgers.
Yes.
And I was just fucking sitting there, just like we cried. No, have some cheeseburgers. Just cheeseburgers is fine.
Because as everyone remembers, that's a callback to the very first Iron Man, which was the very first MCU movie.
Which also parallels the decision for Robert Downey Jr. to clean up his life.
Yep.
Because it was actually a Whopper
Burger King. Yeah.
That made him turn his life around.
Yeah.
Because he ordered a Whopper and he couldn't enjoy it. Which is weird. But yeah, it's just like...
Yeah, so Iron Man began this mega phase of the MCU, and he ended it.
Yeah.
Now, there is a shot, first of all, of Peter trying really hard to hold it together. But there's another teenage boy who nobody would actually recognize the look of.
Because he aged with the film.
I was very confused, and then I did some research.
Yeah.
He is the boy
from Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3.
Harley.
Yep.
Yes. The little snot-nosed brat, that's him.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of cool that that was a interesting interesting nod there. Seeing that, I was just like, oh shit! Like I didn't realize that. Like me and Storm went back and forth on that, and I'm like, oh fuck yeah, no, you're right. When I saw it again, I'm like, oh shit.
I researched. I look up trivia on IMDb, yeah. So I mean that's where a lot of my talking points came from. I'll admit.
And like seeing an actual somber Thunderbolt Ross.
Yes.
Was like, I was like, whoa.
Who's Thunderbolt Ross?
The asshole from Civil War.
The general.
The one that starts the whole Sokovia Accords bullshit.
Yep.
So, but, and then the credits and no closing credit scene.
Yeah.
Except for one thing.
I was messaging Todd and Storms.
A very quiet hammer clang at the very end, which is him hammering out the breastplate from the Iron Man Mark I armor back in the original Iron Man.
So, this is me reading too much into things because that's just the way I am. I understand that's where that sound clip's from. However, we know how these motherfuckers love teasing shit to come.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, for those uninitiated, then they probably don't know about all the shit with Fox and whatnot. But when this movie was filmed, they were in the process of acquiring Fox.
Yep.
When the movie was near the end of post-production was when that deal went through. So at that point that deal went through, that's when they could start planning and doing all the other stuff with the MCU stuff. Yeah. So you can't, like, they couldn't go and pull somebody in and like, oh, let's cast somebody real quick to play a character for a post-credit scene. Also, the fact that this movie had no real post-credit scenes because the post-credit scenes was everything was the funeral. Was the funeral and everything that came followed.
Old Man Cap and the funeral were the post and credit and end credit.
And
I mean,
well, no, that and the Spider-Man and Ned thing,
yeah. There were actually quite a few things that could have easily been a mid-credit scene.
I mean, I make the joke of like. You said it earlier. It's like, oh, this is like our Lord of the Rings. Yeah. And I go, and I'll agree with you because it also had 12 endings.
And was 3 hours long.
Yeah. Fair.
If you don't count the extended version.
Yeah.
Which I have.
But, I mean, it totally destroys Lord of the Rings as far as epic battle scenes is concerned.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. But...
Anyway, back to your theory.
Yes. So, I mean, we don't have Iron Man in the MCU anymore.
We don't have Tony Stark in the MCU anymore.
Well, we
could be the new Iron Man.
But he's War Machine or Iron Patriot. Like, he'll probably go...
To be fair, James Rhodes was Iron Man for quite some time.
Fair. Okay. All right. Tony Stark's gone.
Yeah.
As of this moment, from what we know, there is no Iron Man currently. Sure. James Rhodey.
There's no one currently operating as Iron Man.
Nobody operating as Iron Man, yes. One of the last times that Stark died in the comics, or was he just in a coma? I forget. We got two pretty interesting Iron Men. Iron people, rather.
Yeah.
We had Ironheart, Riri Williams, and Victor Von fucking Doom as the infamous Iron Man.
That would be interesting.
So I'm not saying they're going to give us infamous Iron Man.
I am saying they're going to give us Ironheart.
But what I will say, they usually imply what one of the next threats are going to be.
Yeah. That would be amazing.
Doom would be a good Avengers level threat.
Oh, yes.
I mean, that's just the way I look at it.
I mean, Spider-Man has fought Doom.
Yeah. Spider-Man's fought Doom. Strange has fought Doom.
Doom winning the power of Thor would be a good
Mm-hmm. Though Thor is part of the Asgardians of the Galaxy now.
But that he accounts for one hammer.
Yeah.
Whoever holds the power, holds the hammer, shall be in the power of Thor.
Yeah.
And Doom would consider himself worthy. Or if not, he would just suck the energy out of it.
You're not wrong.
He's done that to the Silver Surfer.
Well, and I know we've had this discussion time and time again when it comes down to Doom. They've always played Doom as the tech villain.
Mm-hmm.
And they've never dipped their toe onto the magic side of it.
Having him go after Mjolnir would be an awesome way to do that.
It would be. Though, having him... I still... Like, even if it's initially, like, a little... like... We're getting a Doctor Strange, too. We know this.
That would be a way to go.
We know this.
Yeah.
Based on the way the first one ended, we know Mordo is trying to eliminate all those because he feels that there's too many sorcerers.
Yep.
I still think it would be an interesting situation if that's one of those threads that pulls Doom in. Like, even if it's initially as a small cameo, and it's like people don't realize it, like, but, you don't have to go and build up Latveria,
No.
For fuck's sake, they didn't build up Sokovia, Which, let's be honest, Sokovia was kind of like their way of doing like almost a Latveria to begin with. But
no, it was actually from the comic.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Though it was a country that Ultron murdered in the entirety of and arranged their bodies to resemble his face so it could be seen from orbit.
Oh, fair.
Because Ultron is crazy like that. He basically put up a force field around the entire country and went around barehandedly murdering every single citizen.
That is beautiful. I mean, if we think about the threats that we still have in the MCU, that are confirmed alive, we have Red Skull, we have Justin Hammer, we have Baron Mordo. I mean, who else? Who else do we have? Technically, we could still possibly have Ultron. It's a possibility.
And weren't there hints to that, like, Atom guy or whatever?
Adam Warlock.
The gold people?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think that's why they put Thor with the Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the only... the current Guardians lineup that they have could not fight Adam Warlock.
No.
There is no way. Thor, on the other hand... Thor could, especially now that he's done trying to be the person he's supposed to be and just being the person he is. and accepting that. Like,
Mhm.
he's far stronger now than he was at the beginning of Infinity War.
Okay, real quick, I need to make a correction. It wasn't Sokovia in the comics, it was Slorenia.
Slorenia, okay. That's fair.
But basically, Sokovia was a stand-in for Slorenia.
Gotcha. I knew Sokovia was a stand-in for something.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, I don't remember Sokovia in the comics, like, ever.
Also, he had kind of like an army of Ultron drones that were going around doing it. It wasn't just one robot going around doing it.
Though, I will say, that would have been pretty awesome.
And he would.
Yeah.
He wouldn't care how long it took him either. So, yeah.
Yeah, but
But go on, yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, like, bringing in Doom is, like, there's no real other threats. Like, we got Adam Warlock, which Adam Warlock can be a hero, he could be a villain, you know? We have the New Mutants, which is going to be a villain to people that think it's an MCU film. Coming out next year, right?
Theoretically, they've been pushing this back 2 years now.
Yep, well, they pushed Dark Phoenix back 1.5 years, so...
Should have kept going.
I
I will say this, okay? I'm not a big fan of anyone who's ever played Jean Grey.
Fair.
I don't think any of them could act.
That's
But I will
understandable.
say this. If they were going to, I saw the trailer. If they were going to have the Phoenix represented by a different person in Jean Grey's mind, there, at least cast Famke Janssen.
Okay.
At least do that as a mythology reference. That's all.
I don't know. Like, I just, we've wrapped things up with the
Phase 3.
No, Phase 3 ends with Spider-Man Far From Home.
Oh, okay. But they have said there's going to be a Phase 4 and 5.
Yes.
So
But yeah.
there are far more movies coming.
Yes. Phase 3 officially ends, like, I think next month.
July 2nd.
Really? Because theaters around here are already fucking selling tickets for Spider-Man Far From Home.
It comes out July 2nd.
It's May. Yeah, it's 2 months. Okay, fair. And I mean, I'm gonna see it. I'm not gonna see it like opening weekend, most likely.
I'm probably going to see it July 3rd.
Okay, fair.
Because Mondays and Wednesdays are good for me, and July 2nd is an actual Tuesday, and it makes me wonder why the hell they're doing that.
Because Thursday is July 4th.
Yeah, I know, but...
And they want to try to... And the thing is they're going to lose out on July 4th sales. So they...
Yeah.
That's the main reason they're doing it. I mean, I'm going to... Like, there's... Because of the trailer, the new trailer that dropped of that, of the new Spider-Man, it actually makes me quite excited for the new Spider-Man film. And it takes a lot for me to be excited about that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I know.
Yeah.
Like me getting excited about a zombie movie.
Legitimately, the last time I was excited about a Spider-Man movie was Spider-Man 2. Because they were bringing in Otto Octavius. And I was just like, all right.
Alfred Molina played a pretty good Otto.
He did. He really did. Though, if you can find it, the 2.5 cut of that film is way better.
I will look for that.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 3 was an abomination.
Well, yeah. Well, Spider-Man 3 was an abomination because as much as you could say, like, oh, well, Sam Raimi had to use all these characters. Yeah, no, you're right. He had to use these characters. Originally, his script called for the Vulture and Bruce Campbell as Mysterio, because they'd been setting that up the entire time.
Okay, he would have been funny as Mysterio.
Yeah. Well, see, and the thing is, it's like Bruce Campbell had been in each instance, like at a crucial point in Parker's life, and that was what was going to happen. That was the original plan, and Sony's just like, no, people like Venom, so you got to put Venom in there. And it was it was going to be 3 villains. It was going to be Sandman, who stayed in the film, but he had to be tweaked massively.
Yeah.
You had Vulture, and then you had, and then you were going to have Mysterio.
Turned Sandman into 1989 Batman's Joker.
But my daughter, I'm only doing crime because my daughter's sick.
And God, Topher Grace's Venom was embarrassing.
Yeah, well, Sam Raimi's going on the record saying he never saw the appeal of the Venom character. He wasn't familiar with the character, and
fucking hire people who are.
So he didn't want Venom in the movie to begin with. He thought
but once you've got him in there, make the best one you can.
It's one of the reasons he didn't end up coming back for the 4th film.
Yeah.
Was because
neither did the movie.
Well, okay, so he didn't. Well,
yeah,
he didn't come back for the 4th film because of Sony. Sony was just like, oh, well, the last one underperformed, and Spider-Man 2 was so good. Like, you did such a good job with 2. Why is 3 so bad? And his response is, because you let me make the movie I was making. And I mean, you can only take so much away from a director,
Yeah.
Like, a director's going to have a vision, and if you decide that you, as a studio, your vision is greater than the person who's actually making the art, then you got to reevaluate things, because you're gonna lose something somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to think about Endgame right now because I will fucking cry. But yes, Spider-Man: Far From Home. What I think is brilliant is the new trailer starts off with Tom Holland saying, hey, if you guys haven't seen Avengers Endgame, you probably want to skip this trailer until you do.
Okay.
Please tell me they didn't show that before Endgame.
No.
Good, because that would be dickish.
That would be awful.
So this trailer dropped on Monday. So when the spoiler ban went off, as soon as that spoiler ban went off, this trailer dropped.
For the record, I have not looked at Twitter since Sunday night.
Well, I don't blame you. I do not blame you.
So yeah,
the second you heard that spoiler ban was going up, you were just
like,
until I see this movie,
I'm not going on Twitter.
Yeah.
Or Reddit.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So we've now gone longer than Endgame. So,
but to be fair, we stopped talking directly about Endgame at right about the 301 mark.
But technically, we did start a little bit later because of the plugs at the beginning. So
yeah. So basically, let's just say we did about the Endgame list.
Yeah, we did about the Endgame list. Yeah.
Which is pretty damn cool.
Yeah, it is. Now try to sync up the movie to our podcast. You're welcome.
When you hear the bells toll 3 times, no. Looking forward to when we do this for Far From Home.
So, what? Once again, like, I cannot reiterate this enough. Like, I mean, this is definitely, it's the strongest Avengers film.
Yes.
Hands down.
The strongest MCU film, in my opinion.
In your opinion.
I realize not everyone feels that.
And the thing is, everybody's going to have their own opinion. I mean, for me, Captain Marvel's low on the list. For some people, it's, like, really high. Like,
I love
I'm one of them.
So much.
Yeah,
oh, my gosh.
You know what? Like, it's, to me, there's no...
For some people.
To me, there's no such thing as a bad MCU film. It's just a matter of, like, would I...
Yeah, exactly.
If you like, that's like when I rank the films, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start with this film. Would I watch, like, if I had a choice between this and this, what would I watch? And I'm like,
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, I would watch this one. Okay, so that's my 22.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's how I ranked
Thor
them.
Ragnarok, I would watch again. And I did not like it nearly as much as... It's a bad MCU film. It's not a bad film.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a difference between those two things.
Yeah, I mean, like, what is it? Iron Man 3 and Thor. Like, I'll watch Thor over Iron Man 3 any day.
Yeah.
I mean, Thor gave us Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm.
My boy.
But at the same time, like, once we get into, like, the top 10 portion of it, or actually top 13, like, Cap doesn't show up until, like, the top 13. Like...
He's in all the best ones, yeah.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Like,
Chris Evans knocks it out of the park.
Yeah. I really hope they bring him back to the MCU. As the Human
They're bringing
Torch.
the Fantastic Four back, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say as the Human Torch.
I can deal with that.
Would
Be
you?
a
Wouldn't it be awesome if they made him Reed Richards?
Oh, fuck. You know what?
No, don't do that to me.
He's mature enough to play the role.
You know what? They have him
I
play.
hate Reed Richards though.
They have him
Why?
have him play Ben Grimm,
No.
and it's just Chris Evans. Like, and all it is.
Actually, he already has.
Oh yeah. Okay.
When he swapped power.
Yeah. You're not wrong. But what I'm saying is, like, you have, like, the stereotypical Ben Grimm. You do him in CG, much like you do the Hulk. But then you have Chris Evans as the voice of him. Just, I mean, it'd be easy paycheck for him, to be honest.
I can do this all daytime.
Yeah. Oh man.
So, fun fact is they're still doing a Black Widow solo film.
Yes.
It's going to have to be a prequel at this point, I guess.
I mean,
I do think it was interesting how they brought Gamora back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cast Gamora because regular Gamora is still in the Soul Stone.
Yes. Well, Gamora, like, current Gamora is in the atoms of the soul of that universe's initial Soul Stone.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Widow is with Red Skull.
Yeah.
Fair trade, right? No takesy backsies.
But I still think it's really interesting how they brought her back.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love that moment though with Gamora and no, I'm not even getting into the Quill stuff. Nebula and Gamora, like future Nebula and past Gamora.
They try and kill you, a few times actually before we become friends.
Yeah, and it's just like
we become sisters.
And I fucking lost it. I lost it so hard there because
the writing was just so awesome in this.
So
yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Like,
looking forward to 3.
I'm looking forward to 3 as well, because 2 was kind of a low point for me. I mean, it had some good moments, and I enjoyed the film as itself, but I felt they spent too much time on Ego, and like when they're on Ego, it felt like a fucking time suck.
Yeah, I'll admit that.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Also,
personally, because I hate that they didn't make Shazam his father and instead went with Ego.
I also don't like the fact that an Elder of the Universe is considered a Celestial now.
Yeah, exactly. You're a fucking planet. You're a celestial body. You're not a celestial.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of hope they clarify that at some point.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, no, he doesn't represent us. Like, he was just.
I want to see Arishem just walk in and hold his thumb down.
I would love to see, and it's a shame that he's been confirmed dead. I would have loved to see the Collector come back.
Yeah. I'm happy with the Grandmaster not being around.
You know what, I would, looking forward, like I think when it comes to like the threats, like we're not gonna get like a huge scale threat like we got with these last two Avengers films.
Yeah, they're going back to more earthly threats.
Well,
Your Magnetos, your Dooms, that level.
well, yeah. I mean, you got like now they have the rights to use that. I mean, your Namors. I mean,
Yeah.
but at the same time, we can also deal with the cosmic side of it too.
Yep.
We have our Guardians. We have technically Thor, and then we also have Carol. You know,
Yep.
who hope
And Nova coming soon.
yeah, Carol, please. Carol, please nerf. Like, just too OP. Like, it just...
Yeah,
We gotta do
I would actually like that. I mean, you know what? I would like to see... Oh, that's perfect. The Nova Corps got decimated. What if she gave some of her power to cause a rebirth of the Nova Corps?
Maybe. Possibly. I mean, we also... See, the way I... Okay, so this is me being a dick. We have the X-Men now.
Yeah.
We have the X-Men now.
Mm-hmm.
What X-Men is known to fuck up Carol Danvers something fierce?
Yeah, there is Rogue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. She could bring her down to more earthly power levels.
Oh, God, yes. But at the same time, like, yeah, Rogue does get, like, this huge power surge, but all she retains really is strength and flight, you know?
Yeah. And limited invulnerability.
Yeah, limited. Limited.
Hell, Anna Paquin is on record as saying that the reason why she didn't want to do any more X-Men films is because they didn't allow Rogue to be a flying brick.
Mm. Yeah.
I got news for you. The power stealing is not the most interesting part of Rogue.
No, it's not.
It's her ability to punch through Sentinels by flying through them.
Yeah. Or almost kill Gambit every time she can.
Well, to be honest, that's a public service, not a superpower.
You're not wrong. But no, I mean, that's how we, like, Rogue is how we take care of the Carol problem.
Yeah, that could be it.
That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Unless Captain Marvel 2 takes place, like, is another one of those prequel films. So it takes place, like, let's say this one takes place in the 2000s or whatever, and dealing with the more of the Skrull army, and maybe bring back Lee Pace as Ronan to go and say hi and have a cup of coffee like he did in fucking Captain Marvel. I need to put on my face. Okay, I will see you in Guardians Volume 1. Have fun. Like, it'll be fine. I'll be back. Don't worry. Like, yeah. I mean, it's just that's the biggest thing, though. Like, we need to bring her power level down.
Yeah.
We need to build out more of the cosmic universe. You know,
I think
what were you gonna
I
say?
think the main reason why I like the idea of her powering up the Nova Corps again is it allows you to partially depower her, but still do it in a heroic way instead of having something robbed from her.
I would much rather have something robbed from her,
I
to be
know
honest.
you would. But I'm saying, as a storytelling device, I honestly think her willingly giving something up, basically saying, I can't be out there to police all these worlds by myself. The Nova Corps being back would be a much better way to handle this.
Though, I mean, we could both potentially get the win on this one.
Yeah.
Because, okay, yeah, she does the Nova Corps thing, right?
Yeah.
Depowers herself a bit.
And it's still really powerful when Rogue tackles her.
And yeah, and then Rogue
Yeah.
puts her in a coma. Just saying. I mean, it's puts her in a coma, but the thing is, she haunts Rogue, and the thing is, use that as a way to introduce mutants.
Yeah.
I mean, introducing mutants is going to be difficult because it's like, well, how do they exist if like they haven't existed previously? I mean, Spider-Man: Far From Home is probably going to explain that a little bit.
Fucking up the timeline could introduce mutants, honestly.
Exactly. I mean, you're fucking like, let's put it this way: you doing that is fucking with reality.
Yeah. And time, power,
And
mind.
we know the multiverse exists because of Doctor Strange.
Yep.
I'm just saying, what if?
I love those words.
What if potentially their actions is what causes, the actions of Endgame, that final snap, which created all this divergent timeline bullshit and set the MCU into a different course, onto a new designation, all the other stuff, right?
Yeah.
What if that is what kind of gets things? I mean, the MCU has Inhumans. Whether they want to admit it or not, they have Inhumans.
Yeah.
The MCU also has the potential of the X-Men. I mean, technically Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Because in one of the books that was released, an official Marvel book about the MCU and the characters, they specifically call out that the Mind Stone didn't bestow powers on Wanda. It helped unlock powers. Which is their backdoor way of mutants.
Yeah.
So, oh man. I don't want to say I'm so ready for the next one, but I am. I'm ready for the fucking next one.
Oh, yeah. It's just going to be so... Honestly, I'm boggling to figure out where it's going to go from here, because that was so final feeling.
So, for that lineup of Avengers, it definitely was final.
Exactly.
I mean, there's still hope of having Steve come back as Old Man Cap, director of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I would fucking love. I would love that so much.
Yep.
There is that possibility down the road, like not right away.
Especially since his wife is no longer with him, he has to do something to fill the time.
Yup. Yeah. But then you also have, there's that. That's one thing I could see happening. We can have Carol help set up Sword, Maybe.
Oh, I would so love that. And here's something. If you've got Shield and Sword, Armor would be a good way to introduce the mutants.
Yeah, Armor would. I mean, if you bring in Norman Osborn, maybe we can... Shield's been a thing for a while, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to bring out Hammer.
Yeah.
But
Which
then,
sadly never stood for anything.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's just like, we'll just call it Hammer.
He said it did, but when Victoria Hand asked what does it stand for, he said, get on that.
Yeah.
And that's the last we ever heard of it.
Yeah, well, you're not wrong. But I could see them doing... Like, we have a 2-year hold on the Netflix characters. So there's that. Marvel will have the rights back to Defenders before any of the other properties. Because as much as I enjoy Luke, Matt, Iron Fist, and Jessica Jones. They're not the Defenders.
Not anymore.
I mean, even like to me, the Defenders. You got Hulk, you got Strange, you got Surfer, and you got Namor.
Yep.
I mean, that's the Defenders I remember.
Yeah.
I mean, we've teased Namor in Endgame. We already have.
I've really got to pan out.
We already have Hulk and Strange, and now we just got to get Surfer, which we have the rights for.
Yep.
Which also means we gotta expedite Galactus, which I see Galactus as more like a Phase 5 threat.
Yeah.
Because Phase 5, I could see that being a thing. Like, we've given the Fantastic Four at least... This would be like... It would be their second movie in Phase 5. Because I have a feeling we're going to get a Phase 4 Fantastic Four. It's just too perfect.
I really want to see Galactus come in on the fourth film. Just for the symbolism.
I could see them starting to drop hints about...
Oh, yes.
Around the fourth film, yeah. Because we don't even know what the lineup is yet until San Diego Comic-Con, or is it D23? I forget which one they're going to be announcing the next 5 years of the MCU. So,
I just love the fact that we're still talking about the next 5 years.
yeah. Yep. Shit is crazy.
Again, if you had told me 15 years ago that this was a thing, I might have believed it walking out of Iron Man 1. I would not have believed it 15 years ago.
Well, see, I mean, that's the thing, like...
Because 15 years ago was Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
If you...
Yep.
I saw that movie in fucking theaters.
Ang Lee's Hulk.
Oh, fuck my life.
Those were what we had 15 years ago for Marvel.
Yeah.
Daredevil from Fox.
Which the director's cut isn't bad, but we didn't have the director's cut back 15 years ago.
And Elektra wasn't good either.
Elektra was dog shit.
So I mean, this is what we had for the MCU.
Didn't we have Blade?
In the late 90s, I believe. Yeah.
Well, still, I mean, Blade existed.
It existed at that time, but yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it was still something.
Yeah.
We should probably wrap up because we're at
we should
3.5 hours.
Yeah, we're rambling now because that's what happens.
Yeah, because we're still like buzzing with excitement. So, but anyway,
it was amazing. It was awesome.
Yeah,
it was Earth's mightiest movie.
It's uncanny those words that you're throwing out.
Incredible.
Oh, absolutely.
Spectacular, even.
But anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining us for this spoilerific, giant-sized episode of Pod Errors. We'll catch
it's
you.
Been wonderful sharing it with you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. For DorkyRae of Dragon's Horde Creations, and Thrabalen of Thrabalen Gaming.
Yep.
Todd of the Precipice Podcast Network. I'd like to thank you guys for listening, and hopefully you guys have a great night or day whenever you're listening to this. We'll see you next time. Later.
Bye.